Chapter 23. A good son-in-law sword light flashed, and a head fell. Bright red blood sprayed on the high platform, deeply shocking all the families in Blackrock City. None of them would have thought that Yi Fei would be so straightforward, killing a genius like Yi Long without any hesitation. One had to know that Yi Long had a 5th-grade Huang-ranked dantian, which was one of the best in the entire Blackrock City. If he was still alive, it was very possible for him to break through to Martial Master in the future. This was equivalent to Yi Fei personally killing a future Martial Master in front of everyone. No family would be able to bear such a loss. Yi Fei's fury was truly terrifying. The family Yi disciples present were so scared that they almost fell to the ground. When Yi Fei was at his lowest point, each of them had been secretly instructed by Yi Long to humiliate Yi Fei and his sister. Now that they saw how ruthless Yi Fei was to Yi Long, they were all scared out of their wits. Now, these people could only hope that Yi Fei would not hold a grudge against them. Otherwise, if Yi Fei decided to take revenge, all the family Yi disciples and most of the elders present would not be able to escape the wrath of Yi Fei. Yi Tianxiong let out a sorrowful cry. Seeing his most valued and most talented son being killed by Yi Fei right in front of his eyes, Yi Tianxiong's heart was in so much pain that it seeped into his bones. Yi Tianxiong had high hopes for Yi Long. He had even planned long ago to use Yi Long's talents to dominate the family Yi, dominate Blackrock City, and even replace the city lord's mansion. He had even dreamed of becoming the city lord himself. Now that this beautiful dream had been completely shattered, how could Yi Tianxiong not feel pain? How could he not be angry? He held up Yi Long's head, which was still filled with shock and fear. Suddenly, he raised his head and glared at Yi Fei with his wolf-like eyes. Yi Fei, you actually killed this old man's son. This old man will not live under the same sky as you. Don't you want revenge? Come on then. I killed your father, so come and kill me. Let's fight fair and square and settle all our grudges. Yi Tianxiong exuded a frightening aura and a strong murderous intent. If he could, he really wanted to rush up and kill Yi Fei right now. Unfortunately, he couldn't and didn't dare. The 2 examiners from Tianyun Wufu would never allow him to do so. Yi Tianxiong, you're finally willing to admit that it was you who killed my father for the position of patriarch. Yi Fei was also very angry. 3 years ago, in order to save him, his father had perished together with the demonic beast. The scene kept replaying in his mind. If it was possible, he would have killed Yi Tianxiong right then and there. Unfortunately, now was not the time. There were 2 reasons for this. First, Yi Tianxiong was like his father. They were both experts of the 10th stage of the martial path. In fact, he was half a step into the realm of martial master. Yi Fei's current strength was obviously not a match for Yi Tianxiong. Second, Yi Fei knew that Yi Tianxiong was purposely trying to provoke him. He wanted him to accept the challenge, just like he did with Yi Long. This way, even if Yi Tianxiong killed Yi Fei during the challenge, Tianyun Wufu would have no reason to vent their anger on Yi Tianxiong. Understanding these 2 points, Yi Fei couldn't help but sigh. This Yi Tianxiong was really a sly old fox. Perhaps even the pain of losing his son was just an act. He wanted to gain sympathy so that he could use this opportunity to get rid of Yi Fei. Yi Fei calmly shook his head and said, Yi Tianxiong, I know you're trying to provoke me and force me to accept your challenge. I won't let you have your way. At the very least, before Yi Wei returns, there's no meaning in killing you. I remember that there are still 3 months until the end of the year. At that time, the family will hold the clan tournament. Yi Wei will definitely return. When that time comes, I'll find you and your father and settle the score. Yi Fei also believed that with his talent and the immortal sword spirit in his body, he would definitely be able to break through to the martial master realm in 3 months. When that time came, he would return and wipe out Yi Tianxiong and his father, as well as all those who had bullied him and his sister. Good, you little bastard. Who would have thought that after 3 years of being a good-for-nothing, not only did it not wear down your spirit, it actually made your temperament so mature. It's a pity that you're not my son, so you must die. 3 months later, when Wei returns, I'll let him cut off your head with his own hands. Yi Tianxiong was incomparably furious. Clearly, he hadn't expected that his scheme would be so simple and be seen through by Yi Fei. At that moment, Yi Tianxiong no longer felt the sorrow of losing his son. Instead, he was filled with endless resentment and regret. Knowing that he couldn't do anything to Yi Fei even if he stayed, Yi Tianxiong turned around and left. Let's go. Yi Tianxiong angrily planned to leave with his people. However, this time, not all the elders followed. A few elders who had always been neutral hesitated for a moment. They actually stayed behind and stood together with great elder Yi Tianai. It was obvious that they wanted to stay behind and support Yi Fei. Yi Tianxiong was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. Without another word, he quickly left with a dark expression. Now that Yi Fei had risen to prominence, he had to bring this news to his other genius son, Yi Wei, as soon as possible. At the same time, Yi Fei didn't have the time to care about the elders who stayed behind. Seeing that Yi Tianxiong had left, Yi Fei immediately walked up to the woman in white and said gratefully, "Senior sister, thank you for your help just now." "It's nothing. Since you call me senior sister, of course I'll help you. However, Wu Province has a rule that we can't casually interfere with the family affairs of our disciples. You have to uphold your own justice. Our Wu Province is only responsible for increasing your strength. I hope you can understand this," the woman in white said. "I understand. However, before I join Wu Province, I have one more request." Yi Fei looked at the woman in white with sincerity and nervousness. "What is it?" The woman in white frowned. However, seeing that Yi Fei was also a genius, she thought about it and didn't reject him. "As long as it doesn't go against the rules, we can try our best to help you." Yi Fei's expression became very serious. He bowed deeply to the woman in white and said, "Senior brother, senior sister. My request is very simple. I have a sister who has been suffering from cold poison since she was young. Even the elders of the Tianxian sect can't do anything about it. I wonder if Tianyun Wufu has a way to get rid of the cold poison?" Yi Fei quickly explained Yi Shanshan's situation. The woman in white was very surprised. She was born with cold poison. No medicine is effective. Only golden sun grass can suppress it. Now, even golden sun grass can't suppress it? How can there be such a strange disease in the world? Haha, Sister Bai, it doesn't matter what strange disease it is. Since it's the first time junior brother Yi has asked us for help, we should try our best. Why don't we go and take a look? If we can't do it, there are elders in Wu Province who are proficient in medicine. I'm sure they can find a way." The man in black interrupted with a smile. It turned out that the woman in white's surname was Bai. It was a very fitting name. However, Yi Fei wasn't in the mood to appreciate it. His mind was full of his sister's illness. When he heard that Tianyun Wufu really had a way, Yi Fei's eyes lit up. He hurriedly cupped his hands to the woman in white again. "Sister Bai, I'll take you to see my sister's condition now." "Sure. Oh right, this is your senior brother Zhou. My name is Zhou Guang. Junior brother Yi, please lead the way." Sister Bai and junior brother Zhou's attitudes were very friendly. With Yi Fei's talent, he would definitely achieve great things if he joined Tianyun Wufu. If they befriended Yi Fei now, they might be able to use him in the future. "Sister Bai, senior brother Zhou, please follow me." Yi Fei nodded. Seeing that the two of them had agreed, he picked up his Xian sword from the ground and immediately rushed out of the city lord's residence like a gust of wind. He didn't even bother to greet anyone. The two people behind him naturally followed immediately. In any case, the strongest person here was Yi Long. In the end, he was killed by Yi Fei in just a few moves. The remaining people had even less of a chance of passing Wu Province's assessment. It didn't matter if they continued to take the assessment or not. None of the geniuses present expressed any dissatisfaction. Yi Fei's actions just now had deeply shocked them. At this time, no one dared to criticize him. Sigh, we were wrong in the past. If I had known that Yi Fei's talent was so outstanding, I would have helped him when he was in trouble. However, it's not too late now. Come to think of it, Yi Fei is only 2 years older than Ling. If we can make them a couple. Chapter 24. Star Moon Holy Land. When Yi Fei returned to the family Yi, he could clearly feel the difference in the atmosphere of the family Yi. The most obvious difference was the way the clan members and guards looked at him. In the past, they were all high and mighty or disdainful. However, ever since the news of Yi Fei joining Tianyun Wufu spread, all the clan members who saw Yi Fei immediately lowered their heads respectfully or smiled fawningly at him. The members of the family Yi, who had bullied him before, all looked nervous. They were afraid that Yi Fei would deal with them. At this moment, Yi Fei was not in the mood to pay attention to them. Yi Fei only had one thought in his mind: to cure Yi Shanshan of her cold poison. He even brought the 2 senior brothers and sisters of Tianyun Wufu to the remote courtyard where they lived as quickly as possible. Sister Bai was very surprised when she saw that Yi Fei, who was so talented, was actually living in the most desolate and dilapidated courtyard in the family Yi. She was even more surprised that such a remote family Yi actually had a martial master in charge. Although Yi Chao's strength was only that of a first-grade martial master, such strength was extremely rare in Blackrock City. Great-grandfather, why did you come out? Where's my sister? How is she? Yi Fei was very anxious. When he saw Yi Chao, who was supposed to be helping Yi Shanshan stabilize her injuries, standing alone at the door, Yi Fei had a bad premonition. Hey Yi Fei, don't worry. Yi Shanshan is fine. However, there's one thing that I hope you can calm down after you hear what I have to say. Yi Chao looked at Yi Fei with a complicated expression. This glance made Yi Fei's heart sink. He no longer cared about what Yi Chao had to say. Right now, he only wanted to see his sister and see how she was doing. Sister, where are you? I'm back, and I've also brought experts from Tianyun Wufu. They will definitely cure your cold poison. Yi Fei couldn't finish his sentence. There was no sign of his sister, Yi Shanshan, in the room. Uncle Jian, where's my sister? Where did she go? Before I left, what did you guys promise me? Yi Fei suddenly turned around and questioned Yi Jian like an enraged lion. Towards Yi Jian, Yi Fei only had respect and gratitude. But when he couldn't find any sign of Yi Shanshan anywhere, Yi Fei instantly fell into a state of rage and fear. Yi Fei, calm down first. That girl Shanshan is fine. She might even have encountered a great opportunity. Yi Jian finally spoke, but his expression was somewhat complicated. Yi Fei, you couldn't possibly be thinking that we would harm your younger sister, right? Even if you don't believe this old man, you should at least believe your Uncle Jian. The utmost exalted elder Yi Chao also walked in and said, Uncle Jian, what happened? Where did my sister go? Yi Fei forced himself to calm down. He knew that it was useless to panic now. He had to know where Yi Shanshan went. Yi Jian walked to Yi Fei with a complicated expression and patted his shoulder. Little Fei, Uncle Jian is useless. I promised you that I wouldn't let anyone take Shanshan away, but that woman was too strong. She was so strong that Grand Elder and I didn't even have the right to resist. Shanshan was taken away by her. Uncle Jian, are you saying that my sister was taken away by a woman? That even you and Grand Elder couldn't resist? Yi Fei was very shocked. He originally thought that Yi Tianxiong had taken his sister away, which was why Yi Jian couldn't resist. Now it seemed that the situation was more complicated than he thought. Yes, it was a woman. A powerful warrior that our entire Blackrock City can't afford to offend. Yi Jian took a deep breath and quickly recounted what had happened not long ago. It turned out that when Yi Fei left the family Yi to participate in the Wu province assessment, an unexpected guest suddenly appeared in the courtyard where Yi Shanshan was staying. It was a beautiful woman. Her aura made Yi Chao feel a deep sense of fear. When she saw Yi Shanshan exuding a cold aura, the woman was incomparably delighted, as if she had discovered a peerless treasure. The beautiful woman straightforwardly expressed her intentions. She wanted to take Yi Shanshan to an incomparably powerful place to cultivate. Only there could Yi Shanshan be cured of the cold poison in his body. Yi Jian and Yi Chao were both experienced people. Of course, they wouldn't easily believe the words of a woman. Moreover, Yi Jian had promised to guard Yi Shanshan until Yi Fei returned. Yi Jian was a man of his word. He wanted to stop the beautiful woman on the spot. However, the beautiful woman only released a little bit of her aura and suppressed Yi Jian and Yi Chao. Both of them couldn't move. In the end, she directly took Yi Shanshan with her and flew into the clouds, disappearing from sight. What? Uncle Jian, are you sure you didn't see wrong? That woman took my sister and flew away directly? Did she tell you her name? Or where she was taking my sister to cultivate? Yi Fei had completely calmed down. Following that, he was deeply shocked. Without moving a finger, she could suppress Yi Chao, a martial master expert, to the point that he couldn't move. In the end, she could even take someone with her and fly into the sky. How terrifying was this beautiful woman's strength? Was she a martial grandmaster, a martial honor, or even stronger? No wonder Uncle Jian and Yi Chao couldn't resist her. Even if all the martial artists in Blackrock City worked together, they might not be able to resist such an expert. The only thing that reassured Yi Fei was that the beautiful woman only wanted to take her sister to cultivate. It seemed like there was a way to expel the cold poison in Yi Shanshan's body. Generally speaking, Yi Shanshan should be safe. When Yi Jian was narrating, Yi Chao didn't say a word. It was only now that he smiled bitterly and said dejectedly, "To be able to fly, one has to be at least a martial grandmaster. In the eyes of such an expert, we are all ants. Do you think she has the leisure to talk to a bunch of ants?" That's right. Although that woman didn't speak to us, before she left, Yi Shanshan seemed to have asked her for something. She left you a token and said that if you were strong enough, you could take this token and go find her. Yi Jian handed Yi Fei a token. It was a very strange token. There were pictures of the sun, moon, and stars on it. It looked very mysterious. Holding the token, Yi Fei was a little stunned. He didn't recognize this thing. "Senior brother, senior sister, do you recognize this token?" Yi Fei handed the token to Sister Bai. This senior sister came from Wu province and seemed to have a high status. Her knowledge was definitely greater than his. After taking the token and taking a look, Sister Bai's face was full of shock. She couldn't help but exclaim, "How can this be? This is the Star Moon Holy Land's star token." "Senior sister, it can't be. Are you sure you didn't see wrongly? I heard that those who have the Star Moon token are qualified to join the Star Moon Holy Land. Geniuses like that, even in my Tianyun Wufu, I might not be able to get many in 20 years. Zhou Guang was scared out of his wits. Then, he looked at Yi Fei with eyes full of envy and jealousy. Hearing the conversation between the two, Yi Fei was very shocked. He continued to ask, "Senior sister, is this Star Moon Holy Land more powerful than our Wu province?" "Of course. If the Holy Land is the moon, then our Wu province is the most insignificant star around the moon. Even the strongest genius in our Wu province might not have the chance to join the Holy Land. If your sister was taken away by the Holy Land, then her talent must be amazing." Sister Bai's words made Yi Chao, Yi Jian, and Zhou Guang speechless. Zhou Guang looked at Yi Fei's Star Moon token with a hint of greed. Sister Bai seemed to understand what Zhou Guang was thinking. She sighed again and shook her head at Yi Fei. "What a pity! There are two types of Star Moon tokens. One is the Heavenly Star token, and the other is the Constellation token. Those who have the Heavenly Star token can participate in the Holy Land's assessment and join the Holy Land. Those who have the Constellation token can only obtain glory and wealth in the Zhao Kingdom. The Zhao Kingdom has decreed that those who have the Constellation token can be conferred the title of Marquis and enjoy glory and splendor. Now, it's up to you to choose. Do you want to come back to Wu Province with us to further your studies, or do you want to ask the Zhao Kingdom's royal family to confer you the title of Marquis? Sister Bai looked deeply at Yi Fei. Beside him, Zhou Guang's eyes were already red with envy. That was conferring the title of Marquis. If possible, he would rather not cultivate in the Wu Province. He wanted to seize this chance of glory and wealth. Yi Jian and Yi Chao were also very excited. Conferring the title of Marquis. How could such a small family Yi have such a day? Didn't that mean that as long as Yi Fei agreed, their family Yi could become a Marquis at any time? They would become the most powerful family in the entire Zhao Kingdom? Yi Fei, this is a great opportunity for our family Yi. Yi Chao was so excited that his white hair fluttered. Chapter 25. The Heart of Becoming Strong. Junior Marshal Brother Yi, we'll be returning to Wu Province tomorrow. You have one day to decide if you want to join Tianyun Wufu. Sister Bai said in the end. Then she walked out with Zhou Guang. Originally, Yi Fei would definitely join Tianyun Wufu. However, things were different now. With the star token, Yi Fei could directly become a noble. It did not matter whether he studied in Wu Province or not. Before he left, Zhou Guang looked at Yi Fei with extreme envy. He would never have dreamed that such a remote youth like Yi Fei could become a prince or marquis in a day. This was really a great fortune. Haha, my family Yi is so lucky. I never thought that I would be able to see my family Yi become a noble in my lifetime. Yi Fei, now that Shanshan has been taken away by the people from the Holy Land, you don't have to go to Tianyun Wufu anymore. Just stay in my family Yi and become a noble. Wouldn't that be great? Yi Chao, the Grand Elder, was so excited that he was incoherent. Yi Jian was also very excited. He did not expect that Yi Shanshan, who had been despised by his family Yi since he was young, would bring such a huge opportunity to his family. Seeing Yi Chao and Yi Jian's agitated expressions, Yi Fei could no longer hold it in and said angrily, "What bullshit, Marquis. Uncle Jian, great-grandfather, Star Moon Holy Land's actions are clearly the greatest insult to our family Yi." The woman who had taken his younger sister away had said it very nicely. She had said that when his strength was sufficient, he could go to the Star Moon Holy Land to look for Yi Shanshan. However, in truth, in her heart, she simply did not believe that his family Yi would be qualified to enter the Star Moon Holy Land. Thus, she had not given him a heavenly star token to enter the Star Moon Holy Land. Instead, she had only given him the All-Star token that could bring him wealth. In this way, the message that the beautiful woman was trying to convey was very clear. She looked down on family Yi, and she didn't think that Yi Fei had the strength to come into contact with the Holy Land. She didn't want Yi Fei to disturb Yi Shanshan's cultivation. She only hoped that Yi Fei could stay in Zhaoyang and live out the rest of his life as a noble. Yi Fei angrily stared at the sky in the direction where his younger sister had been taken away. He coldly shook his head and said, "Star Moon Holy Land, you took away my younger sister. Did you think that I would accept your token? If you don't want me to go, then I'll go. Just you wait. In less than 3 years, I'll definitely head to the Star Moon Holy Land and bring my sister back." His words shocked Yi Jian and Yi Chao, who were still immersed in their joy. Then, their expressions turned awkward. They had personally experienced the gaze of the beautiful woman when she looked at them like they were ants. They also knew that the beautiful woman had given them this token purely as a form of charity. However, they didn't have the ability or the strength to reject such charity. After all, they were already old and weren't very talented. They were destined to not have great achievements in the martial way. Therefore, even though they knew that this was a form of charity, as long as it could make family Yi stronger, the two of them could only happily accept it. However, Yi Fei wasn't willing to accept it. As the Grand Elder, Yi Chao hurriedly advised, "Yi Fei, you have to consider the consequences. This kind of charity can make our family Yi struggle less for 100 years. So what? Are we going to let others look down on us and live the rest of our lives as nobles?" Yi Fei was even angrier. He was so angry that he directly smashed the token in front of Yi Chao. Then, he said loudly, "You can accept this kind of charity, but I can't. No one can stop my determination to pursue the martial way." Nobles and nobles were nothing in the world of martial artists. Only strength was the foundation of wealth. As long as he was strong enough, not to mention nobles, he could even overthrow the Zhao Emperor and become the emperor himself. What a joke! The Star Moon Holy Land actually thought that by giving him wealth, they could extinguish his determination to pursue the martial way and let him live the rest of his life as a noble. It was simply laughable. A tree needed a layer of bark to live, and a man needed a breath to live. From the moment he found himself in the world of martial way, Yi Fei swore, "In this life, even if I die in battle, I will not be mediocre." In this life, he would definitely reach the peak of martial way. In this life, he would control the universe and reign supreme over the 9 heavens and 10 earths. In this life, he would destroy the heavens and earth and slaughter all gods and demons. If the Star Moon Holy Land tried to stop him, he would flatten the Holy Land. If the heavens and earth tried to stop him, he would destroy the heavens and earth. In short, Yi Fei could accept anything, but he could not accept charity from others. "Become stronger, I must become stronger. Uncle Jian, just you wait and see. Sooner or later, I will lead the Yi clan to become a clan that is stronger than the noble clan and the royal clan. See you in 3 months. Yi Fei looked at Yi Jian with great care. Then, he turned around and walked back to his room to pack his luggage. Since his sister had already left, there was nothing in the family Yi that he could not bear to leave. He had already decided that he would rush to Tianyun Wufu tomorrow and learn his skills. Then, he would flatten the Star Moon Holy Land. Others might not be able to do this, but Yi Fei believed that the immortal sword soul that could destroy tens of thousands of gods and demons would definitely be able to help him do it. Bastard, are you stupid? Our family Yi was about to become a royal residence and a marquis residence. How could you destroy such a precious token like this? Yi Chao's heart ached as he looked at Yi Fei's back. If this prodigal kid was his son, Yi Chao would definitely pick up an iron rod and give him a good beating. Grand Elder, that may not be the case. Yi Fei has been different from the others since he was young. I have a feeling that this child has limitless potential. Perhaps one day, he will bring glory to the Yi clan that is greater than the noble plane. Yi Jian was extremely gratified. Compared to relying on the pity and charity of others to obtain their status, he hoped that Yi Fei could lead the family Yi to glory with his own strength. At this moment, looking at Yi Fei's resolute back, Yi Jian finally could not help but shed tears of gratification. Big brother, your son has finally grown up. With a son like this, our family Yi has nothing to worry about. Without saying goodbye to anyone, Yi Fei packed his luggage and left silently. He carried his bag and once again arrived outside the city lord's residence before dawn. Sister Bai and Zhou Guang were waiting there. Seeing that Yi Fei could actually abandon his status as a marquis and pursue martial arts wholeheartedly, Sister Bai's eyes lit up. For the first time, she took the initiative to greet Yi Fei and nodded at him. Yi Fei, you really did not disappoint me. It seems that your determination to pursue martial arts is stronger than I expected. Because I want to become stronger, Yi Fei said in a low voice. Yi Shanshan's sudden departure was a blow to him, even though he understood that it was a great opportunity for his sister to enter the Star Moon Holy Land. He was just not used to it yet. It's good that you're here. Then let's set off. Also, you can call me Bai Ling in the future. Bai Ling called over the strange bird that had been waiting for a long time. She smiled and gestured for Yi Fei to follow her. Feeling Yi Fei's incomparably resolute martial arts heart, she had a feeling that perhaps this youth's future achievements would be even greater than that of a marquis. Zhou Guang's face was filled with disbelief as he watched Yi Fei abandon the great wealth that many people could not exchange for in their entire lives. He felt that this youth must be crazy. Yi Fei's talent was very strong, but he was only a 10th grade Huang-ranked martial artist. In Tianyun Wufu, he was only above average. Did this youth really think that he could come into contact with the Holy Land in his lifetime? How sad and ridiculous! Chapter 26. Princes and Marquises as a Demonic Beast. This strange bird was at least as strong as a martial master. Yi Fei had never imagined that he would one day be able to ride on the back of a demonic beast and fly into the sky. This feeling was hard to describe. He was excited, but more than that, he felt a sense of oppression. Tianyun Wufu could even tame powerful monsters and make them willing to become mounts. This kind of power belonged to the top of the Zhao kingdom and could even be compared to the royal family. Even so, Tianyun Wufu was the most insignificant star in the eyes of the Holy Land. In that case, as a Holy Land, how powerful must it be? Traveling to Tianyun Wufu was not something that could be done in a day or two. Yi Fei did not dare to cultivate in the air, so he could only chat with Bai Ling, hoping to get more information about martial arts and the Holy Land from her. Senior Sister Bai, I wonder what kind of realm I need to reach before I can fly freely in the sky like this strange bird? If I need to fly with someone in the sky, what realm do I need to reach? Yi Fei asked. Even though Bai Ling had asked him to call her by her name, Yi Fei naturally wouldn't seek trouble by calling Bai Ling by her name. Bai Ling smiled. Her smile was as clear as the clear water of a lake. Her eyes were also very bright. With one glance, she could tell what Yi Fei wanted to ask. Bai Ling didn't get impatient. Instead, he patiently explained to Yi Fei, Junior brother Yi, if you want to be able to fly on your own, you'll first need to break through to the Martial Master Realm and reach the 10th level of the Martial Master Realm. Then, you'll be able to cultivate some of the secret techniques of Wu Province and gain the ability to fly. However, you'll only be able to truly fly when you reach the Martial Grandmaster Realm. As for being able to fly long distances with someone in tow, you'll need to be at least at the 5th level of the Martial Grandmaster Realm or break through the Martial Grandmaster Realm to reach the Martial Venerable Realm. Bai Ling brushed her bangs that had been messed up by the wind. Being able to join the Wu Province proved that her talent was not mediocre. Who wouldn't want to become stronger with such talent? Yi Fei nodded and continued to ask, how long will it take to break through to the Martial Grandmaster and Martial Venerable Realm? Are there many experts in Wu Province? That's hard to say. However, with Junior Brother's talent, there is still hope for you to break through to the Martial Ancestor Realm. As for the Martial Saint Realm, not to mention our martial house, even in the entire country of Zhao, it is hard to find one. Bai Ling looked at Yi Fei meaningfully. She opened her mouth, but held it in. She didn't want to hurt Yi Fei too much. Zhou Guang didn't care about that. He suddenly interrupted, Junior brother, there's no hope for you to break through to the Martial Venerable Realm. I've heard from the elders in Wu Province that if you want to break through to the Martial Venerable Realm, you won't have a yellow level Dantian. You'll need a black level Dantian at the very least. So, Junior brother, you should give up. Bai Ling immediately glared at Zhou Guang with dissatisfaction. Yi Fei's sister had just been taken away by the Holy Land. Zhou Guang's words were too hurtful. However, Bai Ling and Zhou Guang didn't expect that Yi Fei wasn't upset when he heard the news. Instead, he was secretly happy. I see. If I want to break through to the Martial Venerable Realm, I just need to increase my talent to the black level. That's too easy for me. One had to know that he had the immortal sword soul in his body. As long as he had enough pills to feed the immortal sword soul, the quality of his dantian would continuously increase. It wasn't impossible for him to reach the black level. The strange bird flew for 3 full days before finally landing in a city that was dozens of times larger than Blackrock City. However, this wasn't where Tianyun Wufu was located. Bai Ling introduced, Yi Fei, this is the Black Forest County City. Blackrock City is also under the jurisdiction of the Black Forest County. Other than you, there are a few other disciples who passed the Wu Province's assessment in other places. They will all gather here. I'll bring you to meet them now. Then I'll have to trouble you, senior sister. Yi Fei nodded. He was also curious about the other people who had joined the Wu Province. Bai Ling directly brought Yi Fei into the Black Forest County City's governor's mansion. At the same time, there was already a group of luxuriously dressed youths gathered in the martial arts arena. Each of them had an arrogant look on their faces or a threatening aura. There was also a group of very powerful adults surrounding them. They were probably their parents or something. When they saw Bai Ling coming over, all of them, whether they were generals, governors, or nobles, swarmed over and greeted Bai Ling and Zhou Guang. Long time no see, Miss Bai. It seems like you've gained a lot from your trip this time. You've found another genius in Wu Province. A middle-aged man wearing a python robe said with a smile. Brother Zhou, we've been waiting for you for a long time. The banquet is ready. Today we won't go home until we're drunk. When my son comes to Wu Province in the future, I hope you too will take care of him. Another general spoke. As he spoke, he had already subtly presented a generous gift to Bai Ling and Zhou Guang. There were even more high-ranking officials and nobles giving gifts. From this, it could be seen how powerful Tianyun Wufu was in Zhao City. Even nobles had to put aside their status to make friends with them. This made Yi Fei secretly glad that he didn't accept the constellation token. He didn't want to become a noble one day and still have to curry favor with a disciple of Wu Province. In the face of so many parents, all of whom were of prominent status, Bai Ling and Zhou Guang couldn't care less about Yi Fei. As Bai Ling dealt with them, he pointed at a group of luxuriously dressed youths standing not far away and said, Yi Fei, those are your brothers. Looking at this lineup, we won't be able to leave today. Now you can go and make friends with them or walk around the city by yourself. We'll leave tomorrow and return to Wu Province. Then I'd better find a place to cultivate, Yi Fei said. Even though he had the immortal sword soul, he still felt a sense of urgency. Since he had said that he must go to the Star Moon Holy Land and bring his sister back, he must do it. Immediately, Yi Fei prepared to return to the back of the strange bird and start cultivating while waiting for Bai Ling and Zhou Guang to set off again. However, he didn't know that his actions had already attracted the attention of the group of luxuriously dressed youths. It couldn't be helped. Those who could enter Wu Province were all considered geniuses. Every one of them was the treasure of their family and had been taken care of since they were young. Only Yi Fei was wearing a coarse shirt and carrying a big bag on his back. He didn't fit in with the image of a genius. They all felt a little curious. Which brother is this? His clothes are too strange. If he wasn't following behind Sister Bai, I would have thought that he was a beggar. One of the youths in luxuriously dressed pointed at Yi Fei and started to talk. Seeing that Yi Fei was about to go to the side to cultivate as soon as he came over, the leading youth frowned and immediately ordered his companion, "Go and ask him which prefecture he is from. I know all the famous geniuses in Black Forest County, but I don't think I've seen this person before." "Okay, young master. I'll go and ask around." The youth in luxuriously dressed who was called out ran over to Yi Fei and looked at Yi Fei curiously. Then, he cupped his hands and said, "Brother, you look unfamiliar. May I ask which prefecture you're from in Black Forest County? The prince's mansion, the marquis mansion, or the general's mansion?" It turned out that these youths in luxuriously dressed youths who had passed the test were all descendants of influential families in Black Forest County. Such families were also full of geniuses and were the easiest to be selected by Wu Province. Subconsciously, this person thought that Yi Fei was also one of them and was just pretending to be low-key. Yi Fei didn't mind and said honestly, "My name is Yi Fei. I'm from Blackrock City's family Yi. I'm not a descendant of an aristocratic family." "What? Blackrock City? Isn't that the most remote place in Black Forest County? I heard that it's so poor that birds don't even shit there. Also, which family Yi is that? How come I don't know that there's such a family here?" The youth in luxuriously dressed froze. He thought that Yi Fei was joking, so he immediately laughed and said, "Brother, you're really good. This joke is really funny. Ha." Hearing the contempt in his words, Yi Fei was faintly displeased, but he still said, "I'm not joking. I'm really from Blackrock City. Our family Yi is just a small family. It's normal that you haven't heard of it." "No way. You're actually from a small family? How could someone from that kind of trash family pass Wu Province's test?" The youth in luxuriously dressed was obviously very surprised. Yi Fei was already a little angry. "Although our family Yi is small, it doesn't mean that we can't enter Wu Province. I'm going to cultivate now. Goodbye." Chapter 27. Arrogant and despotic Dong Zi. What's going on? Why didn't you call him over to greet the little prince? Yeah, he looks very weak, but he actually passed Wu Province's exam. He must be a very talented heir. The group of youngsters in brocade clothes found it strange that their companion, who had gone to inquire about Yi Ling, had come back so quickly with an angry look on his face. The leader of the group also frowned. His name was Wang Ming, and he was the little prince of the county king's mansion in Black Forest County. He had the highest status among all the youngsters who had passed Wu Province's exam this time, so he was the leader of this group. Just now, Wang Ming had noticed that Bai Ling, who had always been cold, was unexpectedly speaking to Yi Fei so intimately. More importantly, Yi Fei's strength was only at the 5th level of martial arts, but he had passed Wu Province's exam. This in itself showed that Yi Fei was very talented. Therefore, Wang Ming sent one of his followers, Ho Dong from the general's mansion, to test Yi Fei's background. In the end, Ho Dong came back with an unsightly expression after a short while. Wang Ming asked curiously, "What's going on? Did you find out where he came from?" "Hey, little prince, today is really unlucky. I thought that guy was some hidden heir, but when I went to ask him, guess what? That brat isn't from any aristocratic family, but from some small family in Blackstone City. I don't know how he passed the test with such low strength." Ho Dong's face was gloomy, as if talking to Yi Fei was an insult to him. The other youngsters in brocade clothes were even more shocked. Being able to pass Wu Province's exam as the heir of an aristocratic family showed that they were very talented and knowledgeable. Those from Blackstone City couldn't compare with them. Immediately, someone expressed his disbelief and said, "It's impossible that he's from a small family. I heard from the elders in my family that in Black Forest County, no one who isn't from an aristocratic family has been able to pass Wu Province's exam." Ho Dong straightened his neck and said hurriedly, "How is it impossible? I asked him myself. If you don't believe me, you can ask him yourself." Looking at Ho Dong's flushed face and neck, it did not seem like he was lying. The heirs present were shocked again. Some people were shocked, but most of them expressed their disdain. "It's true. No wonder that brat is dressed so shabbily. So he's a commoner." In the eyes of this group of aristocratic children, anyone who did not belong to an aristocratic family would be addressed as lowly commoners to show their noble status. What made them even more displeased was that Yi Fei was actually sitting on the back of that strange bird to cultivate. Even they, the crown princes, couldn't get close to that strange bird, but Yi Fei was able to sit on it. This also showed how important Yi Fei was to Wu Province. This was the real reason why the heirs were unhappy with Yi Fei. How could a lowly commoner like him be valued more than the heirs of Wu province? After learning about Yi Fei's identity, one of the heirs who was not convinced immediately jumped out and said to Wang Ming, "Little prince, look at that lowly commoner. He looks very arrogant. Even when we call him, he ignores us. How about we go up and teach him a lesson?" "Forget it. How could a lowly commoner know any etiquette? But it's good that he's here. We're not allowed to bring servants to Wu province this time, and we have to carry our own things. Now that the lowly commoner is here, isn't he a ready-made coolie? Haha, Brother Wang, your idea is very sinister. But I like it. Let's do it this way. Little prince, you don't have any objections, right?" When that person spoke, he looked at Wang Ming ingratiatingly, but found that Wang Ming's attitude was cold. Ever since he found out that Yi Fei was not from an aristocratic family, but from an ordinary one, Wang Ming's eyes didn't even look at Yi Fei. But when Wang Ming saw that Yi Fei could sit on the strange bird and cultivate, which even he couldn't get close to, Wang Ming was extremely unhappy. Thus, he didn't say anything, tacitly agreeing with his companion's actions, and let them do as they pleased. Yi Fei was cultivating not far away. Of course, he also heard their unbridled discussion. He didn't want to pay attention to it, but this group of people just kept talking. In the end, some of them even directly walked over with ill intentions. How could he still calm down and cultivate? Anger welled up in his heart, but he couldn't directly vent it. After all, this was the county capital, which was the territory of these heirs of aristocratic families. If there was a conflict, it was inevitable that he would be at a disadvantage. Yi Fei decided to swallow his anger. He directly jumped off the bird's back and walked away. Since he couldn't cultivate in peace, he could at least go shopping and enjoy the scenery. "Lowly commoner, stop right there. When you saw us heirs coming over, why didn't you hurry over and kneel down to greet us? You actually dare to leave?" His forbearance made this group of heirs even more arrogant. They thought that Yi Fei was afraid, so they acted even more unscrupulously and directly started to order Yi Fei around. "Lowly commoner, listen carefully. We are going to Wu province to report, and it just so happens that we lack a servant. From now on, you will be our follower. Of course, you will also have to carry all of our luggage for us. Do you understand? Of course, as long as you are obedient, we will also take care of you when we arrive at Wu province. Lowly commoner, think about it, how should you thank us for taking care of you?" These heirs kept calling him lowly commoner, which made Yi Fei extremely angry. He immediately turned around and said angrily, "Scram? I didn't provoke you, so you better not provoke me." Originally, Yi Fei's heart was filled with anger when his sister was forcefully taken away by the Star Moon Holy Land. Now, someone actually dared to provoke him. If it wasn't for the fact that this was the county capital and he didn't want to cause trouble, he would have already taken action. To be able to pass the Wu province's examination, this group of heirs were all very strong. The weakest of them was in the 8th stage of the martial path. When they saw that Yi Fei, who was only in the 5th stage of the martial path, actually dared to resist, they all laughed wantonly. "Lowly commoner, your temper is quite big. In front of us heirs, you still dare to make a fuss. You have quite the guts. Now, even if we don't teach you a lesson, it would be too embarrassing. Brothers, please come up with an idea. How should we teach this lowly commoner a lesson so that he will remember?" "Hee, I have an idea. Everyone, don't fight with me." Seeing that there was a chance to humiliate Yi Fei, the first person to speak to Yi Fei, the young man in embroidered clothes called Ho Dong, immediately stepped out from the crowd and blocked Yi Fei's path. In front of everyone, he said, "Lowly commoner, you want to leave, right? Sure, but if you crawl under my crotch now, we won't make things difficult for you. How about it? Am I benevolent enough? Crawl my ass." Yi Fei was completely enraged. Without waiting for Ho Dong to speak, he directly kicked Ho Dong and sent him rolling on the ground like a rubber ball. At this moment, Yi Fei finally understood that the more he tolerated, the more arrogant and despotic these heirs would become. Since that was the case, he might as well make a move. Chapter 28. Even more arrogant and domineering. Seeing Ho Dong roll out like a rubber ball, the heirs who were originally very arrogant were now stunned. How could this guy be so bold? As heirs, they often bullied the geniuses of the ordinary families. But no matter how strong those geniuses were, they could only endure it because of their status. They didn't dare to go against the aristocratic families. They thought that Yi Fei would be bullied by them for fun. Who would have thought that Yi Fei would actually make a move and kick their comrade into a pulp? After the heirs recovered from their shock, they didn't look angry. Instead, they looked at Ho Dong, who was still rolling on the ground, with ridicule. Ha ha ha, this is too interesting. This lowly commoner actually dares to fight back. No way, Ho Dong. You're an expert in the 8th stage of the martial path. How could you be beaten like a dog by a lowly commoner in the 5th stage of the martial path? Don't tell anyone that you know us in the future. Ho Dong, can you do it? If you can't, then let us do it. These heirs were all gloating. Not only did they not care about their comrade, but they also looked at Yi Fei with malicious eyes. It was rare to meet a lowly commoner who dared to resist. It was more interesting to torture him like this. Roar. I don't need you to do anything. I'm going to kill him now and tear him to pieces. Ho Dong got up from the ground angrily and threw a punch at Yi Fei. Yi Fei frowned. When he kicked Ho Dong, he didn't use any true energy, so he didn't injure him too much. He just wanted to teach him a lesson. Who would have thought that Ho Dong didn't know how to restrain himself? Not only did he bully him, but he also wanted to kill him. He was simply courting death. Scram! You think a good-for-nothing like you can kill me? Yi Fei's face was cold. He could tell that although Ho Dong was in the 8th stage of the martial path, his aura was weak and his footsteps were weak. It was obvious that he relied on pills to forcefully raise his cultivation. He couldn't be compared to the family Ye's elders who advanced step by step through actual combat. Yi Fei wasn't even afraid of the family Ye's elders. Why would he be afraid of this arrogant heiress? Desert Gale Technique. Wind and sand are everywhere. Yi Fei also threw a punch. It was true that his realm was low, but the quality of the true qi converted from a black grade technique was definitely not something that Ho Dong's true qi from a mere yellow grade technique could compare with. If a comparison had to be made, then Ho Dong's true energy quality would be wood, while Yi Fei's true energy quality would be stone. No matter how hard a piece of wood was, could it be harder than a rock? Bang! The two fists collided, but Yi Fei did not move at all. He stood tall like a rock in the desert. Ho Dong, on the other hand, was vomiting blood as he was sent flying by Yi Fei's punch. He fell to the ground and couldn't get up for a long time. What's going on? A lowly commoner of the 5th stage of the martial path actually sent Ho Dong of the 8th stage of the martial path flying with one punch? Sneak attack. This is definitely a sneak attack. He's just a lowly commoner. How can he be so powerful? Sneak attack your sister. Don't you have eyes? Ho Dong attacked first, and then this lowly commoner counterattacked. How could he sneak attack? The scions present were completely stunned. Two of them hurriedly went to help Ho Dong up, while the rest looked at Wang Ming at the same time. Wang Ming was the most talented and the most powerful here. He was already at the peak of the 9th stage of the martial path, and was only one step away from reaching the peak of the 10th stage of the martial path. What you used just now, was it the Desert Gale spell? Wang Ming slowly walked to the front. That punch just now had shocked even him. All the aristocratic children present also looked at Yi Fei with astonished gazes. What, the Desert Gale spell? Isn't that the black level technique that Tianyun Wufu used for the assessment? We only managed to comprehend that kind of technique. Not only did this lowly commoner comprehend it, he even learned it so quickly. No wonder he could pass the assessment with such a low realm. This lowly commoner is actually a hidden genius. His talent might even be better than Little Prince's. Hearing the discussions of his companions, Wang Ming's face suddenly turned ugly. Originally, he was the strongest genius here, whether in terms of status or strength. Now, the limelight was vaguely being stolen by Yi Fei. "You're called Yi Fei, right? It's rare for a lowly commoner to have such talent. Are you interested in becoming friends? It just so happens that I lack a capable subordinate like you by my side." Wang Ming still had some tricks up his sleeve. He didn't directly attack Yi Fei, but instead wanted to directly make Yi Fei submit to him. After all, to be able to take in someone who was more talented than him as a subordinate was a very satisfying and honorable thing in itself. "Boring. If you're not going to fight, then I'm leaving." Yi Fei sneered and turned to leave. "You think you can insult people as you wish just because you're Little Prince?" He worshipped the heavens, the earth, and his parents, but he didn't know how to worship people. This attitude instantly infuriated Wang Ming. He said angrily, "Lowly commoner, do you think you can ignore us just because you've learned a black-level technique? You want to leave after beating up my men? You'll have to ask the saber in my hand first if it agrees." Wang Ming aimed his saber at Yi Fei's back. His speed was fast and ruthless, and a hint of murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Yi Fei's rejection made Wang Ming feel very embarrassed. Since he couldn't take Yi Fei as a subordinate, Wang Ming didn't mind directly destroying Yi Fei. "Senior sister, should we make a move? Yi Fei and Wang Ming are both pretty good geniuses. If either of them gets hurt, we won't be able to account for it when we return," Zhou Guang said worriedly. When they discovered the commotion here, they quietly came over and watched from the side, ready to make a move at any time. Bai Ling thought for a moment, but still shook her head. "Forget it. Wu Province only stipulates that disciples can't kill each other, but it doesn't prohibit disciples from fighting. As long as they don't injure or endanger their lives, not only will Wu Province not interfere, they will even encourage disciples to compete with each other." Not sure if it was intentional or not, Bai Ling purposely raised her voice, allowing everyone to hear her words. Yi Fei's eyes lit up. So it was like that. It seemed that Wu Province was also a place where the strong preyed on the weak. Since that was the case, what did he have to worry about? It just so happened that this group of aristocratic children had already angered him and wanted to kill him twice in a row. If a tiger doesn't show its might, you really think I'm a sick cat? Great Desert Gale, Sword 13 forms. Yi Fei suddenly turned around and pulled out his Xian sword. He aimed it at Wang Ming, who was pouncing on him, and used Sword 13 forms. The Xian sword also increased the power of Yi Fei's swordsmanship by another level. Even a level 10 martial path expert might not be able to block a 13-fold critical hit, let alone Wang Ming. It was just one sword strike. Gotcha! Yi Fei had already broken Wang Ming's excellent saber. Then, like a kite with a broken string, Wang Ming groaned and staggered back a dozen steps. A trace of blood appeared at the corner of his mouth. He actually forced Wang Ming, who was at the peak of level 9 martial path, to retreat with just one sword strike. The aristocratic children present were scared silly. They knew that Yi Fei was very talented, but they didn't expect Yi Fei to be this strong. What made them envious the most was the Xian sword in Yi Fei's hand. It was actually a Xian-level weapon. Even for aristocratic children like them, it was very difficult to own such a weapon. Wang Ming looked at Yi Fei with shock and jealousy in his eyes. Before he could say anything, a large group of aristocratic children had already surrounded him and asked about his well-being with a loyal look on their faces. There was even someone who sneered and pointed at Yi Fei and mocked, "Lowly commoner, you're finished. You even dared to hit the little prince of the county king's manor. Do you think my ass?" Yi Fei suddenly appeared beside the arrogant, aristocratic child and slapped him. Half of his face was red and swollen. That person covered his face and looked at Yi Fei with anger and grievance. Lowly commoner, how dare you, Pa? Who is the lowly commoner? Tell me clearly. Yi Fei raised his hand and slapped him again. You are. The aristocratic child who was slapped was still unconvinced and was about to say something. Pa. Another heavy slap landed on his face. Yi Fei smiled and continued to ask, Tell me, who is the lowly commoner? How dare you, Pa? Pa. In the eyes of the aristocratic children, this smile was scarier than the devil. They thought that these aristocratic children were already very arrogant and domineering. Who would have thought that Yi Fei was even more arrogant and domineering than them? The young man who had been slapped until he was dizzy was so frightened that he knelt in front of Yi Fei and cried. He begged for mercy. Brother, stop hitting us. You're not the lowly commoner. It's us who are lowly and shouldn't have provoked you. Elder, please do us a favor and stop slapping us. If you continue, I won't be able to face anyone. At most, I'll give you this bottle of elixirs as compensation. In order to avoid physical pain, this person hurriedly took out a bottle of elixirs and presented it to Yi Fei. Yi Fei was shocked on the spot. Good Lord, as expected of someone from an aristocratic family. He casually took out a bottle of spirit-gathering elixirs. Chapter 29. 2 consecutive defeats. Feeling Yi Fei's menacing gaze and seeing the bruised and swollen face of their companions, the aristocratic clan's disciples who had been flaunting their prowess and bullying Yi Fei for fun were now all trembling in fear. When a little fatty dressed in brocade saw Yi Fei walking towards him, he was so frightened that his voice started to tremble. He shouted incoherently, Don't come over, tell I am the heir of the Marquis residence. If you come over, I'll scream, I'll really scream. The little fatty really did scream, because Yi Fei directly pressed his xian sword against his neck. The little fatty immediately let out a blood-curdling scream like a pig being slaughtered. With a plop, he straightforwardly knelt down in front of Yi Fei. Tears and snot flew out as he said, Brother, don't kill me. I only followed along and scolded you. My crime doesn't warrant death. At most, I'll give you a bottle of elixirs as compensation. The little fatty wept endlessly as he painfully gave Yi Fei a bottle of elixirs. Not bad, you're sensible. From now on, we're all friends. Yi Fei was very satisfied with the little fatty's tactfulness. He immediately withdrew his xian sword and comforted the little fatty in passing. The faces of the aristocratic sons around them turned black. They felt that this guy wasn't human at all. It wasn't enough that he beat them up, but now he was actually eyeing their elixirs. Yi Fei also turned his head and looked coldly at them. What about you guys? Are you going to be beaten up by me, or hand over your elixirs as compensation? Brat, you'll definitely regret this. You even dare to rob us aristocratic sons. F***K, you've got guts. The aristocratic sons were furious, but seeing that even the strongest Wang Ming wasn't Yi Fei's match, they could only grit their teeth and hand each of them a bottle of elixirs to Yi Fei in order to avoid physical pain. There were 7 children of aristocratic families present. Apart from Wang Ming, Yi Fei received 6 bottles of top-grade spirit-gathering pills at once, and Wang Ming was the only one who didn't. It wasn't that Yi Fei didn't want him to give it to him, but when they saw Yi Fei's actions, even Bai Ling and Zhou Guang, who were standing in the dark and didn't want to interfere, couldn't stand it anymore. This method was a little too shameless. Bai Ling walked over, speechless. He glared at Yi Fei and scolded, Who allowed you to fight here? If you want to fight, go to Wu Province. You can fight however you want. If this happens again, don't even think about going to Wu Province. Let's disperse. Remember, nothing happened today. We don't want anything to happen when we return to Wu Province. Zhou Guang gave the group of young masters a warning look. After all, if this matter got out, they would also be responsible for not supervising it properly. The best way was to directly suppress this matter and act as if nothing had happened. He had also underestimated this group of young masters. To be able to join Wu province, they were all proud and arrogant. Of course, they wouldn't go back and complain to their elders after being beaten. Wang Ming gave Yi Fei a sinister look, then cupped his hands in salute to Zhou Guang. Senior brother Zhou, don't worry. We won't say anything, but we'll definitely pay him back for today's humiliation. Lowly commoner, just you wait. How dare you offend our aristocratic families? Don't think that we're afraid of you just because you're talented. The group of young masters was furious. They had originally come to humiliate Yi Fei, but in the end, they were humiliated by Yi Fei and even had their elixirs stolen. They were so angry that they turned around and left. How could they still have the face to stay here? Yi Fei didn't think too much of it. His principle was that if others didn't offend him, he wouldn't offend them. The next time this group of people dared to provoke him, he would directly beat them to death. If he didn't beat them until they were afraid, they wouldn't know how to restrain themselves. Bai Ling and Zhou Guang left Yi Fei alone to give him a scolding. Then they went back in and continued to participate in the banquet. Yi Fei also pretended to be depressed, but when Bai Ling left, he immediately became radiant with joy. Haha, we're in luck this time. I didn't expect to get so many elixirs after teaching those young masters a lesson. Brother Bird, everyone has a share. These are for you. Yi Fei directly threw several spirit-gathering pills to the strange bird beside him. He was now rich and overbearing, so he didn't feel the slightest bit of heartache. The strange bird was also very satisfied with Yi Fei's filial piety. Its eyes also softened as it looked at Yi Fei. With so many elixirs, it's time to properly increase my strength. Yi Fei sat back down on the strange bird's back. He took out the elixirs and swallowed them all in one go. He originally wanted to see if he could use these elixirs to increase the quality of his energy center from the yellow grade to the black grade. Who knew that the invincible sword soul wouldn't have any reaction at all? Damn, this sword soul is really picky. The spirit gathering pill is such a good low-grade elixir, but you actually don't want it. Forget it, if you don't want it, I'll take it. With so many elixirs, it's not bad to use them for a breakthrough. Yi Fei and the strange bird slowly closed their eyes. The man and the bird began to cultivate at the same time. Time passed especially quickly when they were cultivating. In the blink of an eye, it was already the morning of the second day. It was also the day to depart for Tianyun Wufu. On the back of the bird, Yi Fei slowly opened his eyes. A hint of excitement flashed across his face. A 10th grade yellow grade Dantian is really amazing when cultivating. In just one night, not only did I absorb all the elixirs, my strength also broke through 2 levels consecutively, reaching the 7th grade of the martial path. And this was only the cultivation speed of a 10th grade yellow grade Dantian. If Yi Fei could increase his energy center to the black grade, then how shocking would his cultivation speed be? Alright, since everyone is here, let's set off. Yi Fei will ride the strange bird with us. The rest of you will follow on horseback. Do you have any objections? If not, then let's set off. At this time, voices came from the square. Bai Ling and Zhou Guang happily returned to the strange bird's back with many gifts. They took Yi Fei directly into the sky and flew in the direction of Wu province. Wang Ming and the rest of the 7 aristocratic family disciples didn't have this kind of treatment. At most, only 3 people could sit on the strange bird's back. The remaining space was used to store all kinds of gifts. Of course, they didn't have any space. They could only obediently ride the horses arranged by their families and run along the road. Especially when they discovered that after one night of cultivation, Yi Fei's strength had increased from the 5th grade of the martial path to the 7th grade of the martial path. Many people were so angry that they wanted to vomit blood. Shameless lowlife, it wasn't enough that he stole our elixirs. He even used them to break through 2 levels in one night. Little Prince, you have to make a decision for us. Are we going to let a lowlife bully us? Hearing these companions' words and seeing that Yi Fei could ride the strange bird and fly into the sky, while he, the little prince, could only ride a horse and follow on the ground, a strong sense of unhappiness and jealousy instantly grew in Wang Ming's heart. Don't worry. This lowlife's talent is strong, but I don't believe that he can be stronger than my big brother. When we reach Tianyun Wufu, I will definitely kill him. Even if I can't kill him, I will destroy him. Wang Ming looked at the sky with resentment. He hadn't forgotten the humiliation of Yi Fei forcing him to retreat with one sword strike yesterday. But Wang Ming selectively forgot that he had attacked Yi Fei first and wanted to kill Yi Fei, which was why Yi Fei had been forced to fight back. At the same time, these aristocratic family disciples also forgot that they had provoked Yi Fei first, so Yi Fei had no choice but to teach them a lesson. At this time, there was only hatred and a strong sense of jealousy in these people's eyes. Chapter 30. First entry to Wu Province. After another 7 days of continuous flight, the strange bird finally stopped outside a huge city. Zhou Guang proudly dismounted from the strange bird and pointed to the tall city gates not far away. Fellow junior brothers, this city is called Sky Fortune City. It is the foundation of Tianyun Wufu. You will also be training here in the future. My God, this is Tianyun Wufu. It really is imposing. Looking at the scale, the entire Sky Fortune City is at least 10 times larger than our county city. TCH, what's so surprising about this? Do you think I'm going to tell you that the entire Sky Fortune City belongs to Tianyun Wufu? Some of the aristocratic juniors began to show off to their peers. After all, they were all youths. It was their first time coming to such a majestic city. Not only them, but Yi Fei was also deeply shocked. He had originally thought that no matter how strong Tianyun Wufu was, it would at most occupy a piece of land in a large city. It should be similar to the schools in his previous life. Who would have thought that Tianyun Wufu would be so domineering and directly occupy a majestic city as their base in Wu Province? Yi Fei would never have dared to imagine such a method in the past. It was no wonder that when Zhou Guang mentioned the heavenly profound sect, his face was full of disdain. Compared to those sects that could only occupy a mountain range as their base in the wilderness, Wu Province's strength was much, much stronger. Under the leadership of Bai Ling and Zhou Guang, the group of youths walked into Sky Fortune City in an orderly manner. No one dared to be presumptuous, not even Yi Fei. This was because this was Tianyun Wufu. This time, it was not just these few people who had joined Tianyun Wufu. There were also disciples from Wu Province who would go to Zhao's dozens of large counties to undergo a special assessment. Today just so happened to be the day everyone brought the new disciples back to the sect. Yi Fei glanced around and saw that all of them were the new disciples who had rushed over. These young boys and girls were the same as Yi Fei and the others. They were all led by their senior brothers and senior sisters to the martial house's main hall where new disciples were registered. Outside the main hall, Yi Fei could see many elders standing there with powerful auras. Their dignified gazes constantly swept over the new disciples. Once they found a new disciple that they liked, they would go up and talk to them. "Senior, what are those elders doing?" Some people were curious and couldn't help but ask Bai Ling. Bai Ling explained, "Those elders are selecting suitable disciples to take in. Of course, these are all outer court elders. Their strength is not very strong, so they have to come out personally. They hope to find a disciple that they are satisfied with. The truly powerful elders will not come out personally. Instead, they will let their trusted disciples take their place in recruiting. So that's how it is. Then can we directly become apprentices under senior? Actually, I've always wanted senior to teach me personally." The little fatty who had been scared to his knees suddenly looked shyly at Bai Ling. There was no other way. Bai Ling was not only beautiful, but also had a good personality. Along the way, these young masters all had a good impression of Bai Ling. When they heard that the little fatty was so shameless and wanted to use their relationship as master to get close to Bai Ling, even Yi Fei couldn't stand it, let alone the group of young masters. He hadn't expected the little fatty to be such a wretched person. Bai Ling thought the little fatty was trying to tease her and make her laugh. However, she glanced casually at Yi Fei and shook her head. I'm not an elder yet, so I don't have the right to take you as my disciples. However, if you are willing, you can join our sword sect. My teacher is an inner court elder of the sword sect. He can recommend you. It turned out that in Tianyun Wufu not only did one need a teacher to cultivate, but one also had to choose a direction to cultivate in. For example, the sword sect, the saber sect, the alchemy sect, the array sect, and so on. Everyone could choose a different direction to cultivate in based on their own preferences and talent. Of course, because of the beauty Bai Ling, the little fatty and the other young masters didn't care about their own talents and said in unison, "Senior, we have the same opinion. Where Senior is, we will be there." This group of young masters was indeed despicable. Yi Fei was speechless when he heard this. Then, he felt someone pat his shoulder and a middle-aged man appear beside him. He held Yi Fei's hand in surprise and said, "Haha, you're finally here." Yi Fei was so disgusted that he almost drew his sword on the spot and swore to protect his purity. Fortunately, the elder's next words dispelled Yi Fei's anger. "Kid, I'm an elder of the outer court saber sect. How about it? Are you interested in becoming my disciple? With your 10th grade Huang rank talent, I can only guide you in the future and give you a large amount of cultivation resources." The middle-aged man looked at Yi Fei as if he was looking at a treasure. His words also made the other elders nearby feel tempted. "What, a 10th grade Huang-ranked disciple? Young man, quickly come to my side. As long as you are willing to become my disciple, you can choose any cultivation method and resources you want. Don't fight. This junior brother's talent is so strong, it's most suitable for him to become my master's disciple. Junior brother, my master is an inner court elder. If you join him, your cultivation will definitely be faster." Bai Ling's face was filled with anxiety at this moment. She had purposely blocked Yi Fei behind her, but she didn't expect that others would still discover Yi Fei's talent. Bai Ling also hurriedly said to Yi Fei, "Yi Fei, my master is also an inner court elder and specializes in the Tao of the sword. I think it's most suitable for you to join the sword sect. What do you think?" "This. Since senior sister says so, then I'll join the sword sect." Yi Fei looked at Bai Ling's expectant gaze and found it really hard to refuse. In any case, he had originally planned to cultivate the Tao of the sword. It didn't matter who he joined. The middle-aged man and the surrounding elders sighed. A 10th grade Huang-ranked Dantian was admittedly very strong, but it wasn't to the point where all the elders would go crazy over it. When they saw that Yi Fei had already made his choice, they all dispersed and looked for another target. When he saw this scene, Wang Ming was so angry that his face turned ashen. With a 9th grade Huang-ranked Dantian, he could be considered an above-average genius and wasn't much weaker than Yi Fei. In the end, because of Yi Fei's appearance, everyone's gazes were focused on Yi Fei and ignored him, a genius. Wang Ming was so jealous that he couldn't bear it anymore. He looked at Yi Fei with a venomous gaze, then turned and left after registering his identity. Yi Fei didn't notice. When she heard that he was willing to join the sword sect, Bai Ling pulled Yi Fei's hand to one side in pleasant surprise and told him in detail about the various things he needed to pay attention to after joining the sword sect. The other disciples who had also joined the sword sect were especially envious. They had also joined the sword sect, but why hadn't Bai Ling pulled their hands and talked to them? Motherf asterisk Kerr, so what if you're talented? You've offended the county king's manor. Let's see how you'll die later. Those disciples of aristocratic families endured the sadness in their hearts and turned to leave angrily. Yi Fei smiled bitterly when he saw this. Bai Ling realized that she had been too worried about Yi Fei and had actually neglected the feelings of her other junior brothers. Junior brother Yi, do you understand what I told you just now? If you do, I'll come find you after you've settled down, and then we'll go pay our respects to my teacher together, Bai Ling said with an embarrassed smile. I understand. Sister Bai, if you have something to do, then go do it. Yi Fei nodded and said a few simple words to Bai Ling before they both left. Yi Fei went to look for the dormitory in Wu Province, while Bai Ling went to look for the people who had left and told them about the rules of the sword sect. As Yi Fei left, he didn't know at all that there was a pair of venomous eyes staring at him from the corner outside the main hall. After watching Yi Fei leave, Wang Ming finally couldn't help but say to a young man who looked very similar to him, "Big brother, it's that lowly commoner." Not only did he refuse the recruitment of the county king's manor, he even humiliated me. I want to kill him. Big brother, do you have a way? Wang Ming turned around to look at the young man. This young man was called Wang Liang, and he was Wang Ming's older brother. He was also the first prince of the county king's manor, and also had a 10th grade Huang-ranked dantian. When he found out that Yi Fei, who came from a small family, had a 10th grade Huang-ranked dantian, Wang Liang was very surprised. However, when he heard that Yi Fei had refused the recruitment of the county king's manor, his surprise quickly turned into indifference. A 10th grade Huang-ranked dantian. Unfortunately, he's a lowly commoner, and he actually dared to refuse the recruitment of the county king's manor. He deserves to die. Wang Liang snorted coldly. Wang Ming was very happy and immediately asked, "Big brother, how do you plan to kill this brat? When do we do it?" Wu Province had a rule that disciples couldn't kill each other, but that was only on the surface. As long as they secretly killed Yi Fei, even if the Wu Province found out later, with the county king's manor's strength and Wang Liang's talent, the Wu Province might not punish them. Chapter 31. Beauty comes out of the bath. Wang Liang was even more excited than his younger brother, Wang Ming, at the thought of killing a 10th grade Huang-ranked genius. It was obvious how twisted their hearts were. Otherwise, how could they be brothers? Wang Liang looked around and saw that there were only his trusted subordinates and no outsiders. He told Wang Ming sinisterly, "Hee, little brother, you might not know this, but your big brother recently received a secret mission from the inner school elders. They just so happened to want me to find a scapegoat to help them complete a task. In the end, this lowly commoner appeared and offended you. Don't you think these two matters are coincidental?" Big brother, are you saying that we should use this lowly commoner as a scapegoat and kill him with a borrowed knife? But, big brother, Yi Fei doesn't look like a blockhead. He's very sinister. It won't be easy to trick him. Wang Ming was still a little worried. Wang Liang laughed coldly and clapped his hands. He ordered his subordinates, "Bring me Zhou Guang." "What are you doing?" "Junior brother Wang, what do you mean? I didn't offend you. Why are you kidnapping me?" Two Wu Province disciples quickly brought Zhou Guang over. Zhou Guang shouted as he walked, but when he saw Wang Liang, he couldn't resist at all. Firstly, Wang Liang was more talented and stronger than him. Secondly, Wang Liang was also an inner court disciple with a very powerful elder backing him up. Zhou Guang couldn't afford to offend him in terms of status and identity. Wang Liang was also extremely disdainful of these outer court senior brothers like Zhou Guang. He bluntly ordered, "Zhou Guang, cut the crap. Let me ask you, why didn't you help my little brother when he was being bullied? Why did you help that lowly commoner?" "Junior brother Wang, I'm innocent. Sister Bai has always favored Yi Fei and didn't allow anyone to bully him. I didn't have a chance to help even if I wanted to." Zhou Guang wasn't stupid. He pushed all the blame onto Bai Ling. Upon hearing that Bai Ling was standing behind Yi Fei, Wang Liang's expression became much better. Bai Ling was also an inner yard disciple. He wasn't someone he could easily touch. Wang Liang softened his tone and said, I can let you go, but you have to help me do something. Think of a way to trick that lowly commoner called Yi Fei into the Fire Cloud Cave. Can you do it? What? Fire Cloud Cave? That's an absolute forbidden area in Wu Province. I heard that there's a big shot cultivating there recently. The Wu Province has already issued a notice that anyone who goes near it will die. You're trying to kill junior brother Yi. Zhou Guang's expression changed. He was a little reluctant. Others might not know, but he knew very well that Yi Fei's younger sister had joined the Star Moon Holy Land. Even if he had 10 times the courage, he would not dare to offend Yi Fei. Zhou Guang immediately wanted to tell Wang Liang about this matter. Seeing Zhou Guang refuse, Wang Liang was already very impatient. How could he be willing to listen to Zhou Guang's nonsense? He raised his leg and kicked Zhou Guang to the ground. Zhou Guang clutched his dantian and looked at Wang Liang with a face full of shock and fear. Wang Liang, you what? You're just an outer yard disciple. If I really wanted to, I could cripple you at any time. So, you'd better listen to my orders obediently. I'm not afraid to tell you that I'm not going to deal with that lowly commoner. I'm just following orders from an elder. I need to find a scapegoat. What? An inner yard elder is plotting behind the scenes. Zhou Guang's face turned pale. Wang Liang smiled coldly. Seeing that scaring Zhou Guang was enough, he immediately changed to enticement. Zhou Guang, if you don't agree to this, you have to. You know very well who's backing me up. However, don't worry, I won't treat you unfairly. I heard that you've been moving around recently. You want to leave Wu Province and become the city lord of a small remote city. I can help you with this matter. Even if you don't believe me, you should believe in the elder behind me. Wang Liang, are you serious? You really want to use Yi Fei as a scapegoat? What if you can't kill him? Zhou Guang's face turned even uglier. He understood that he had already become a chess piece of some elder. Haha, can't kill him? Are you joking? Before we came looking for you, we already arranged for 3 martial masters. In the end, they all died. Do you think that brat can still live? Hurry up and decide. Do you want to die, or do you want to enjoy glory and wealth? Wang Liang said impatiently. I just want to live. Zhou Guang sighed helplessly. In his heart, he thought sadly, Junior brother Yi, I'm sorry. I have no choice. If I don't agree, I probably won't live to see the sun tomorrow. Very well, then think of a way to lure him in. Remember, act natural. If you dare to reveal any flaws and ruin the elder's plans, both of us won't be able to escape death. Wang Liang instructed Zhou Guang proudly. Zhou Guang gritted his teeth. He first glared angrily at Wang Liang. In the end, he still went helplessly to Yi Fei's room and knocked on the door. Yi Fei was tidying up the room inside. When he saw Zhou Guang walk in with an unnatural expression, he felt a little strange. Senior brother Zhou, is something the matter? Ahem, junior brother Yi, it's not that I'm busy, but Elder Chun Feng wants to see you now. Zhou Guang lowered his head, not daring to look into Yi Fei's eyes. Elder Chun Feng wants to see me now? Didn't you say that senior sister Tian will take me? Yi Fei felt very strange. Elder Chun Feng was the name of Bai Ling's master. It was said that he was a very powerful elder in the inner courtyard. That was just now. However, after senior sister explained your talent in detail, the elder suddenly became very interested in you and wants to test you personally. I don't have that much time to explain. Hurry up and come with me. If you have any questions, you can ask the elder directly. Zhou Guang raised his head and tried to make his expression look as normal as possible. Yi Fei stared at Zhou Guang. In the end, it was his first time in Wu Province, and he was unfamiliar with the place. No matter how smart he was, he couldn't tell what Zhou Guang was thinking. Therefore, he could only nod and say, Okay, then I'll have to trouble senior brother. Right, where are we going? He realized that Zhou Guang didn't take him to the inner courtyard. Instead, he went to a barren mountain in the city. However, he remembered that this was Tianyun Wufu. He didn't have any enmity with Zhou Guang. How could Zhou Guang harm him? Therefore, Yi Fei followed Zhou Guang to the outside of the Fire Cloud Cave. When they arrived here, Yi Fei finally realized that something was wrong. The temperature of the Fire Cloud Cave was so high. Elder Chen Feng must have eaten too much and asked him to meet here. Senior brother, where is the elder? As Yi Fei spoke, he subconsciously wanted to retreat. Zhou Guang's expression suddenly changed. He didn't expect Yi Fei to be so vigilant. Zhou Guang's face suddenly showed a hint of unwillingness, but he still quickly slapped Yi Fei. Junior brother Yi, don't blame me. I'm also trying to protect myself. Zhou Guang F***CKU. Yi Fei angrily wanted to resist. However, no matter how vigilant he was, the difference in strength between him and Zhou Guang was too great. He couldn't resist at all. He had already realized that he had been slapped into the Fire Cloud Cave by Zhou Guang. He had fallen more than 100 meters into the cave from the entrance. At this time, Yi Fei was really scared out of his wits. The temperature in the cave was so high and there were flames everywhere. If he fell in like this, wouldn't he be burned to a crisp? At the same time, Yi Fei couldn't understand at all. He didn't have any enmity with Zhou Guang. Why would Zhou Guang plot against him like this? However, now was obviously not the time to think about this. As soon as he fell in, the terrifying temperature inside almost suffocated Yi Fei. At the same time, he felt the aura of a living person. There were also many fire spirits around. They floated over unconsciously, as if they wanted to roast Yi Fei. The most excessive thing was that they directly blocked the entrance of the cave. Yi Fei didn't want to die, so he could only quickly run into the innermost part of the Fire Cloud Cave. Fortunately, Zhou Guang's palm was only to slap him in and didn't have any intention of hurting him. Otherwise, Yi Fei wouldn't even be able to run. After running like this for a few minutes, he finally ran to the deepest part of the Fire Cloud Cave. Strangely, there were no flames here. There was a huge hot spring inside that was steaming with white steam. Of course, what surprised Yi Fei the most was that there was a fist-sized purple flame floating above the hot spring. It was burning fiercely. As if feeling the temperature of the purple flame, the fire spirits that had been chasing Yi Fei were all trembling in fear and quickly retreated. Yi Fei's eyes suddenly lit up. He was secretly puzzled as he said, "Strange. Zhou Guang was clearly plotting against me just now. How did he allow me to easily see the treasures hidden in the Fire Cloud Cave?" Seeing that this flame could actually scare away all the fire spirits, Yi Fei was sure that this purple flame was definitely an extraordinary treasure. But before Yi Fei could confirm just what sort of treasure this flame was, the sound of splashing water came from the hot spring. Then, a beautiful woman slowly emerged from the hot spring, her body completely naked. At the same time, she opened her mouth, as if intending to absorb the energy emitted by the violet flame. Unfortunately, at this time, Yi Fei saw the gorgeous woman. The gorgeous woman also saw him. The two of them stared at each other, staring at each other. Chapter 32. Chapter 32. A monstrous disaster. The Fire Cloud Cave was exceptionally quiet. Only the sound of their rapid breathing could be heard. The only difference was that Yi Fei was purely nervous. After all, he was a hot-blooded youth. When he suddenly saw a naked woman bathing here, he couldn't help but blush. Especially when this woman had a country-toppling beauty, Yi Fei couldn't help but feel even more nervous. At this time, Yi Fei finally understood Zhou Guang's sinister intentions. He must have deliberately let him barge in here and discover this beautiful woman. Then, he would use her to kill him. "Zhou Guang, I have no enmity with you. How dare you harm me like this? If I can get out of here alive, I won't let you off." Yi Fei roared in his heart. Soon after, a drop of cold sweat appeared on his forehead. After a brief moment of astonishment, the woman immediately put on a thin veil at her fastest speed. Then, her murderous eyes locked onto Yi Fei. Die! Without giving Yi Fei any chance to explain, the beautiful woman sent a palm strike through the air, wanting to kill Yi Fei. Miss, this is a misunderstanding. I was framed. Yi Fei wanted to explain, but he couldn't just sit and wait for death. However, the furious Zhao Yu didn't give Yi Fei any chance to explain. She didn't care if Yi Fei was framed or not. Just based on the fact that Yi Fei dared to barge in here, and even saw her naked body, she definitely wouldn't let Yi Fei live in this world. Boom! The invisible pressure caused the surrounding hot springs to vaporize. Then, it transformed into a terrifying flaming palm that was about to grab Yi Fei and incinerate him on the spot. Woman, you're going too far. Yi Fei was also furious. He felt that the woman in front of him was really unreasonable. Even if he saw her body, it was unintentional. It wasn't to the point where he needed to be killed. He did not want to die in the hands of such a crazy woman. Even though he knew that he was not a match for her, Yi Fei still brazenly pulled out his profound sword and unleashed the sword 13 style. So what if you're a martial master? If you want to kill me, you'll have to pay the price. Boom! Yi Fei stabbed out with all his strength. Immediately, a crack appeared in the flaming palm. Using this crack, Yi Fei escaped like a fish. That enormous flaming palm exploded behind him. It actually pierced through the walls of the fire cloud cave on the spot. When Yi Fei saw this, cold sweat rolled down his forehead. This crazy woman actually had such terrifying strength. She was able to pierce through the cave with a single palm. Die! Zhao Yu shouted. Her tone was still filled with anger and a trace of surprise. This guy was a little strange. He was only at the 7th stage of the martial path, but he was actually able to block her 3rd stage attack. However, when he saw the broken Xian sword in Yi Fei's hand, Zhao Yu roughly understood the situation. He said coldly, "So you have a low-level Xian weapon. Now that your Xian weapon has been destroyed, you will definitely die in the second move. Crazy woman, I have no enmity with you. Why do you want to kill me?" Yi Fei said angrily. He was very unwilling. In order to block that flaming palm, he had already used all his strength and even destroyed the Xian sword in his hand. At this moment, he no longer had the ability to block a second move. Zhao Yu also had no intention of talking nonsense with Yi Fei. She looked at Yi Fei with eyes filled with boundless anger and killing intent. The second flaming palm fell on the spot. "Damn it, crazy woman. I'll fight you to the death today." Yi Fei jumped up in anger. Since he knew that this crazy woman in front of him was a terrifying martial master expert, Yi Fei would be a fool to stand there and wait for death. Yi Fei stared at the purple flame not far away. He gritted his teeth and rushed over with all his might. From just now, he could tell that this purple flame might be a rare treasure. Since he was not a match for this crazy woman, Yi Fei immediately changed his strategy. He wanted to seize the flame first. Perhaps this way, he could take the opportunity to negotiate terms with this crazy woman and fight for a chance of survival. Yi Fei acted immediately. He immediately pushed the Desert Gale technique to the limit. His entire body was like a cannonball as he leaped into the air above the hot spring. He stretched out his right hand and grabbed at the purple flame. Zhao Yu also did not expect that Yi Fei would dare to do this. She was stunned for a moment. Then, the corners of her mouth curled into a mocking smile. She coldly spat out 2 words, "Stupid." Yi Fei also did not know that this purple flame was called the extraterrestrial divine flame. It was a rare flame that was incomparably precious. Its power could easily burn a 10th-grade martial master expert to death. Back then, in order to suppress this extraterrestrial divine flame, the imperial family of the Zhao kingdom had sent a total of 100 martial masters. In the end, 2/3 of them had been burned to ashes on the spot. They had barely managed to suppress this divine flame. In the end, it had fallen into the hands of Princess Zhao Yu. Even so, Zhao Yu had not dared to directly absorb the power of this divine flame. She had only come to Tianyun Wufu and borrowed the fire cloud cave formed by the natural fire spirit to slowly absorb the energy within. Even she, a third-grade martial master expert, did not dare touch the extraterrestrial divine flame directly. However, Yi Fei had dared to grab it with his bare hands. In Zhao Yu's eyes, Yi Fei was already a dead man. What kind of plaything is this? It can actually burn my true energy. Yi Fei's face was filled with pain. The moment his hand came into contact with the purple flame, Yi Fei regretted it. How was this a flame? It was simply a furnace that could melt anything. The moment he came into contact with the flame, Yi Fei felt a terrifyingly high temperature. It felt as if his entire body would be melted into slag in the next second. Despair immediately appeared on Yi Fei's face. He had not expected that, instead of dying at the hands of that crazy woman, he would be killed by this small flame. No, I don't want to die. I haven't gone to the Star Moon Holy Land to retrieve my sister. I haven't killed Yi Tianxiong and Yi Wei to avenge my father. I can't die. I definitely can't die. Undying sword soul. At this critical juncture, Yi Fei subconsciously thought of the undying sword soul within his body. At the same time, he instantly poured all of his mind power into the undying sword soul within his body. Then, he directly overdrew his mind power and fainted on the spot. The unconscious Yi Fei did not know that, in the instant he fainted, a formless sword shadow had suddenly appeared on his body. That sword shadow was like a black hole that actually swallowed the extraterrestrial divine flame in an instant. It even seemed like it had let out a very human-like burp. However, the speed at which the sword shadow had appeared was simply too fast. In less than 1,000th of a second, the sword shadow and the extraterrestrial divine flame had completely disappeared. Zhao Yu also did not see it clearly. She only saw that, for some unknown reason, when Yi Fei courted death and touched the extraterrestrial divine flame, the extraterrestrial divine flame suddenly burrowed into Yi Fei's body and disappeared. Then, a raging purple flame ignited on Yi Fei's body. How is this possible? Zhao Yu's eyes widened in disbelief. She had originally thought that Yi Fei would die for sure. However, not only had he not been incinerated by the extraterrestrial divine flame, but the extraterrestrial divine flame had been inexplicably absorbed by Yi Fei instead. Shock, doubt, anger, and fear were not enough to describe Zhao Yu's current feelings. She had sacrificed too much in order to refine this extraterrestrial divine flame. In the end, all her efforts had been for naught, and Yi Fei had benefited from it. Even with Yi Fei's current strength, there would only be one outcome if he merged with the extraterrestrial divine flame. That was, he would slowly be burned to death by the flames in his body. Even if he did not die, his meridians would be destroyed and he would become a complete cripple. However, Zhao Yu still could not accept this. Who exactly are you? I was so close to succeeding, but in the end it was ruined by an ant like you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you 10,000 times over. Zhao Yu was about to go crazy with anger. Her beautiful face was filled with monstrous rage and murderous intent. This imperial princess was so angry that she spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot. She screamed fiercely and pounced on Yi Fei without caring about her image. She kicked, hit, pounced on, and bit him. She wanted nothing more than to eat Yi Fei's flesh and drink Yi Fei's blood. In the end, Zhao Yu even picked up the broken Xian sword on the spot so that she could cut Yi Fei into pieces. However, before the broken sword could pierce Yi Fei's body, Zhao Yu suddenly stopped. No, I can't kill him now. The extraterrestrial divine flame is still in his body. If I kill him now, I'll lose the extraterrestrial divine flame forever. Maybe those old bastards in Wu province will have a way to force the extraterrestrial divine flame out of his body. As a princess of the imperial family, Zhao Yu's temperament was very experienced. After her impulse, she immediately forced herself to calm down. However, how could she calm down? This guy in front of her had seen her body and destroyed the extraterrestrial divine flame that she had painstakingly obtained. However, at this moment she could not even kill Yi Fei. Zhao Yu's heart was filled with anger, but he had nowhere to vent it. He was so angry that he screamed again. He clenched his teeth and began to destroy the rock wall near the fire cloud cave in a brutal and crazy manner. Chapter 33. Fused Divine Fire. Zhao Yu's angry voice resounded through the night sky. It was impossible for the group of old monsters in Tianyun Wufu not to hear it. Wu Province's sword sect. A black-robed old man with a huge sword beside him was talking to Bai Ling amiably. When he heard this voice, the old man's expression immediately changed. He muttered to himself in surprise, "What's going on? Who angered the princess again? Our Wu province has clearly ordered that no one is allowed to approach the Fire Cloud Cave." Bai Ling had just been talking to the old man about Yi Fei. Seeing that the old man was suddenly distracted, she asked curiously, "Shizuan, did something happen?" This old man was Bai Ling's master, Elder Chenfeng, and he was one of the few experts in the sword sect. When he heard his disciple's question, Elder Chen pondered deeply for a moment before he said with a serious expression, "A major event has occurred indeed. Ling come with me. Let's go over and take a look." The old man grabbed Bai Ling's arm and condensed a pair of Jinqi wings on his back. Then, he flashed through the air at a low altitude. Elder Chen wasn't the only one who was alarmed under the night sky. Almost all the powerful elders in the inner courtyard were alarmed. There was even a vice-sect leader from Wu province. They all gathered around the Fire Cloud Cave with solemn expressions. They looked at Zhao Yu, who was so angry that his face turned ashen. Then, they looked at the Fire Cloud Cave, which was almost destroyed by Zhao Yu. Their complexions didn't look good. Elder Chen was the first to arrive. He was the first to ask, "Your Highness, how did Wu province offend you this time? Why are you so angry?" Elder Chen, "You did good things in Wu province. When I came here, I had an agreement with you. You provided the Fire Cloud Cave for me to refine the heavenly fire, and I promised that your position in Zhao City would not be shaken. But how did you repay me?" Zhao Yu recalled how Yi Fei had barged in and seen her bathing. Her face suddenly turned red, and then she was so angry that her delicate body trembled as she said, "Not only have you let people in to disturb my cultivation time and time again, you've gone too far this time. You actually let this bastard in and directly swallowed the extraterrestrial divine fire." Elder Chen looked in the direction of Zhao Yu's finger and was surprised to find that there was someone else in the hot spring besides Zhao Yu. Bai Ling was so shocked that he almost cried out when he saw that familiar figure. "It's actually junior brother Yi. Why is he here? Why did he break into the Fire Cloud Cave? What? This is the guy called Yi Fei that you told me about, my disciple?" Elder Chen was also shocked, and a gloomy look flashed across his face. "A new disciple can't possibly know about this place. There must be something wrong. I don't care what's wrong. I called you here to help me see if the extraterrestrial divine fire that he swallowed can still be forced out." Zhao Yu looked anxious. She vaguely sensed that Yi Fei might have been used by someone. However, compared to this, she was more concerned about the extraterrestrial divine fire. Zhao Yu's words shocked the group of elders even more. What? This guy absorbed the extraterrestrial divine fire? Even a LV-10 martial master wouldn't dare to go near it. How could a mere LV-7 martial artist absorb it? "Princess, may this old man examine his body?" Another old man descended from the sky. His aura was even stronger than that of everyone present. When they saw the old man appear, all the elders present bowed and greeted him as Old Wu. Zhao Yu's face showed a hint of fear when she saw Old Wu. Her attitude was no longer as tough as before, and she stepped aside. She asked Old Wu to examine Yi Fei's body. Old Wu, where did the extraterrestrial divine fire go? I checked this bastard inside and out, but I didn't find any trace of the divine fire. Zhao Yu looked at Yi Fei and gritted her teeth. Your Highness, I'm sorry. Although I don't know what happened, he really absorbed the extraterrestrial divine fire. Old Wu shook his head and sighed. He pointed at Yi Fei and said, Unfortunately, this guy's talent and cultivation level are too low. Even if he absorbed the extraterrestrial divine fire, he can't withstand the power of the divine fire. Most of his meridians have been burned. Even if he's still alive, he can forget about cultivating in the future. What? Yi Fei has become a cripple again? Bai Ling's face was full of disbelief. One had to know that Yi Fei had been crippled 3 years ago. Now that he had risen again with great difficulty and become even more amazing, he was crippled again because of this disaster. Bai Ling felt that the heavens were too unfair. A good genius had been completely destroyed twice in a row. Zhao Yu was furious when she heard this. Old Wu, are you sure you're not mistaken? This guy's cultivation level is so low, but he can completely merge with the extraterrestrial divine fire. This is really infuriating. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have kept this guy alive. I'll tear him to pieces right now. The princess's anger towards Yi Fei couldn't be quenched even if the 3 rivers and 5 lakes were emptied. Bai Ling woke up when she heard that Zhao Yu wanted to kill Yi Fei. She didn't know where her courage came from, but she quickly stood up and stopped them. No, you can't kill Yi Fei. Why? Is this guy your little lover? Zhao Yu glared fiercely at Bai Ling. Bai Ling's face turned red, and she quickly shook her head in embarrassment. We don't have that kind of relationship. But princess, do you know that Yi Fei's younger sister has already entered the Star Moon Holy Land? Bai Ling quickly recounted what she had seen and heard in the family Yi. Her words shocked everyone present. Elder Chen's face was also full of disbelief. Ling, are you sure that someone from the small family Yi was valued by the Holy Land and was even taken away personally? Master, how could this disciple dare to lie about this? This matter is absolutely true. Now, the family Yi also has a stellar token. I also saw it with my own eyes. Bai Ling had a serious expression on her face as she spoke about Yi Shanshan's cold poison since she was young. The other elders didn't think much of it, but when Old Wu heard this, he was incomparably shocked. What? She had cold poison since she was young, and only the golden sun grass could suppress it? No wonder. I didn't expect that the family Yi actually had such a terrifying constitution. No wonder the people from the Holy Land personally went to take her away. Old Wu, what kind of constitution are you talking about? Did this guy's younger sister really join the Star Moon Holy Land? Zhao Yu was a little skeptical. Old Wu nodded with certainty. Then, he shook his head. If it's that kind of constitution, any Holy Land would fight over it. As for what kind of constitution it is, this old man doesn't dare to say it clearly. In short, the matters of the Holy Land aren't something our small Wu province can discuss. This Yi Fei absolutely can't be killed. Why can't we kill him? Zhao Yu was furious. Could it be that her body had been seen for nothing? But then she thought of something and said, Fine, I won't kill you. But you can avoid death, but you can't escape punishment. This bastard caused me so much trouble. I want him to suffer. From now on, this person will be a servant disciple of the Wu province. Let him do all the hardest, dirtiest, and most tiring work. Then, wait for me to return from the imperial city. This wasn't because Zhao Yu wanted to let Yi Fei go. It was because Zhao Yu still had a trace of hope in her heart. She felt that with Yi Fei's low strength, he might not have completely merged with the divine fire. Since the people of the Wu province couldn't force the divine fire out of Yi Fei's body, Zhao Yu wanted to return to the imperial palace and consult the experts of the imperial palace to see if they had any good ideas. Therefore, Zhao Yu reluctantly held back her anger and let Yi Fei go for the time being. All right, we'll do as the princess says. Old Wu and the others breathed a sigh of relief when they saw that Zhao Yu had finally taken a step back. In any case, Yi Fei's meridians had been destroyed. There was no possibility of him improving on the martial path. It didn't matter if he was demoted to a servant disciple as a punishment. As long as Zhao Yu didn't kill Yi Fei, it would be fine. Otherwise, the small Wu province wouldn't be able to withstand the wrath of the Holy Land. Especially Yi Fei's sister, who had that kind of terrifying constitution. Elder Chern hurriedly winked at Bai Ling and said, Ling help Yi Fei back to rest first. When he wakes up, ask him who brought him here. The elders present weren't fools. A new disciple couldn't possibly know about the fire cloud cave. Someone must have used Yi Fei as a scapegoat to secretly obstruct Zhao Yu from refining the divine fire. This kind of thing had happened several times before. It was just that the Wu province hadn't investigated the mastermind behind the scenes. Therefore, they had set up the rule that anyone who approached the fire cloud cave would be killed. However, no one expected that the mastermind behind the scenes would be so cunning. After discovering that the old disciples couldn't sneak in, they actually lured the new disciples over. This undoubtedly touched the bottom line of the Wu province. Chapter 34. Chapter 34 Handyman Disciple. The night passed very quickly. The next morning, Yi Fei's overdrawn mental power finally recovered. He also woke up from his coma. His first reaction was shock. I didn't die. One had to know that the terrifying temperature of the divine flame yesterday had really scared him. Besides, even if the divine flame didn't burn him to death, that beautiful crazy woman wouldn't let him go. What was going on now? Aside from the burning pain all over his body, he didn't die and was even brought back to his dormitory. Junior brother Yi, you're finally awake. Bai Ling's cold voice came from the side, and he looked at Yi Fei with a complicated gaze. Sister Bai, did you save me? Yi Fei asked. It wasn't me. You saved yourself. Bai Ling looked at Yi Fei and hesitated. Yi Fei paused. The intense pain in his body made him suddenly understand something. Yi Fei's expression also became somewhat unsightly. He looked seriously at Bai Ling and said, Senior sister, if I say that I was framed, would you believe me? Of course I do. The Fire Cloud Cave is a forbidden area in Wu Province. It's impossible for new disciples to know about it. That's why I came here. Yi Fei, tell me, who let you enter the Fire Cloud Cave and destroy the princess's extraterrestrial divine fire? Bai Ling asked. That was why she had been waiting for Yi Fei to wake up. Yi Fei was a little surprised. Was there a mistake? That crazy woman was actually a princess? Then, he tried to prop himself up and sit up, but Bai Ling hurriedly stopped him. Junior Martial Brother Yi, don't move around. Your body's condition is very bad right now. Although I don't know why you managed to fuse with the divine fire from beyond the heavens, most of your meridians have been destroyed. You won't be able to continue cultivating in the future. Bai Ling looked at Yi Fei sympathetically. It wasn't easy for him to rise up, but he ended up becoming a cripple. He even offended a princess. Yi Fei must be feeling terrible right now. Yi Fei was indeed expressionless. He looked like he was shocked and in disbelief, so much so that he did not immediately answer Bai Ling. Bai Ling did not force him. Junior Martial Brother Yi, I know it's hard for you to accept right now. Since you don't want to talk about it now, I won't ask. I'll come and see you again in a few days. Bai Ling shook her head. She thought that Yi Fei could not take this kind of blow, so he was expressionless. She could not bear to continue to interrogate Yi Fei, so she turned around and left considerately. Bai Ling did not know that Yi Fei was not shocked by the destruction of his dantian, but by the fact that he had merged with the extraterrestrial divine flame that the crazy woman had been guarding. Could it be that the undying sword spirit did something while I was unconscious? After Bai Ling left, Yi Fei's face finally revealed an expression of surprise and joy. I wonder what kind of benefits I'll get after merging with the extraterrestrial divine flame? As for the burned meridians, Yi Fei did not care. The undying sword spirit could even repair his destroyed dantian, so his meridians should not be a problem. Enduring the intense pain, Yi Fei immediately sat up cross-legged on the bed. He circulated his qi to check the extent of the damage to his body. The result was also shocking. My God, half of my meridians are destroyed. The rest are also very weak. No wonder Sister Bai showed that expression. She must have thought that I've become a cripple again. Luckily, half of my meridians are destroyed. The remaining half can still barely circulate true qi. This means that I can still use true qi and martial arts. It's just that it's almost impossible for me to continue increasing my strength. After checking his body, Yi Fei couldn't help but reveal a bitter smile. 3 years ago, his dantian was destroyed. Now, his meridians were destroyed. Why did he have to deal with all these unlucky things? Luckily, I have the undying sword spirit. You mustn't disappoint me. And Zhou Guang, you harmed me for no reason. I'll definitely find out the reason. A cold glint flashed across Yi Fei's eyes. He was just thinking about how to repair his damaged meridians. Bang! The door was kicked open. A fierce-looking man with a scar on his face strode in. Seeing that Yi Fei was still lying on the bed at this time, the scar-faced man was furious. Without thinking, he slapped Yi Fei's face. Odd job disciple Yi Fei, how dare you? The other odd jobs are all working outside. How dare you laze around in bed? Get lost. Who do you think you are? How dare you hit me? Even though his meridians were destroyed, it didn't mean that Yi Fei didn't have the strength to resist. Seeing that the scar-faced man wanted to hit him, Yi Fei, who was already feeling depressed, leaped up and punched the scar-faced man in the face. Ah, Yi Fei, you piece of trash! How dare you hit me, your senior brother? The scar-faced man wasn't paying attention and was sent flying out of the room by Yi Fei's punch. His face was bruised and swollen. The moment he used his qi, Yi Fei immediately felt a burning pain all over his body. It made him dizzy and he almost fainted on the ground. Oh no! The damage to his meridians was more serious than he had imagined. If he didn't repair them quickly, he might really become a cripple. Yi Fei endured the pain and glared fiercely at the scar-faced man. He asked, "Who are you? Also, you said that I'm an odd job disciple. What's going on?" Listen up, kid. My name is Lu Chang. I'm the senior brother of all the odd job disciples. As for why you were demoted from a genius to an odd job disciple, you can only blame your bad luck. You went to the Fire Cloud Cave to die and angered Princess Zhao Yu. You're lucky that the princess didn't kill you and only demoted you to an odd job disciple. Lu Chang explained as he stared at Yi Fei angrily. However, he didn't continue to attack Yi Fei. Lu Chang wasn't stupid. Since he was able to cultivate in Wu Province, even if he was just an odd job disciple, he was more knowledgeable than many disciples of aristocratic families. He knew that Yi Fei was only a half-cripple. His meridians hadn't been completely shattered and he could still use martial arts. Of course, Lu Chang, who was only at LV6 of the martial path, didn't dare to continue attacking Yi Fei. However, although he was afraid, Lu Chang didn't dare to disobey the elder's order. He immediately gathered his courage and said sternly, "Yi Fei, the elder ordered me to take you to an odd job disciple now. How dare you hit me? Are you going to disobey the elder's order? Shut your damn mouth. Even if I'm half-crippled, I can still kill you on the spot. Believe it or not." Yi Fei wouldn't admit defeat. Lu Chang was the kind of person who bullied the weak and feared the strong. Sure enough, when Lu Chang saw that Yi Fei was so strong-willed and knew that Yi Fei had broken into the Fire Cloud Cave and survived, he secretly suspected that Yi Fei might have someone backing him up in Wu Province. Therefore, he he didn't dare to go too far. Lu Chang said with a cold face, "Let me ask you. The elder ordered you to be an odd job disciple. Will you do it or not? You bastard, lead the way. If you call me lousy again, I'll beat you up on the spot." Yi Fei's attitude was tough and he walked out first. After all, it was the elder's order. Before his tendons and veins were repaired, he couldn't disobey. So what if he was an odd job disciple? He had to swallow his anger and find a way to repair his tendons and veins first. It wasn't possible that Yi Fei was the only one living near the dormitory. There were many old and new disciples around. Some people even recognized Yi Fei. He was the slightly famous genius that many elders fought over yesterday. They were very surprised that he was reduced to an odd job disciple. "Isn't that Yi Fei? I heard that he has a 10th grade Huang-ranked Dantian. He can be considered a genius. How did he suddenly become an odd job disciple?" You guys don't know about this. I heard from my senior brother's master's master that this kid was seeking his own death. He went to the Fire Cloud Cave and offended some big shot. Not only were his tendons and veins destroyed, he was also reduced to an odd job disciple. That can't be. His tendons and veins were destroyed, but he could still send Lu Chang flying with one punch. How can he still be so strong? Maybe his tendons and veins weren't completely destroyed. He can barely use martial arts. However, every time he uses it, his tendons and veins will be damaged even more. It won't be long before he becomes a complete waste. Hearing these discussions, Yi Fei, who was walking, was very depressed. He didn't expect that he would become so famous after only one day in Wu Province. Unfortunately, he was known as a waste. Lu Chang, who was walking behind him, had an even uglier expression. Especially when Yi Fei sent him flying with one punch, Lu Chang was extremely unhappy. Chapter 35. Black Level Innate Talent. Lu Chang quickened his pace, and quickly led Yi Fei across half of Tianyun City to the place where the odd job disciples usually work. He pointed at a small black mountain not far away and said, "Odd job disciple Yi Fei, do you see that? From today onwards, you'll be responsible for cleaning up that pile of waste from refining pills. I'll give you 7 days to clean it all up. If you can't complete it, then you'll be punished. A light punishment will be 100 strokes, and all your benefits will be deducted. If you're found to be lazy, then your Dantian will be destroyed and you'll become a cripple. Then you'll be kicked out of Tianyun Wufu. I almost forgot, you're already a cripple. It doesn't matter if you become a cripple again, ha ha." Lu Chang deliberately looked at Yi Fei with a mocking expression. Originally, the Wu province gave him 15 days to clean up this pile of waste. However, in order to mess with Yi Fei, Lu Chang deliberately shortened the time by half. After saying this, Lu Chang quickly covered his nose and walked away as fast as he could. He quickly ran far away and didn't dare to approach this place again. Yi Fei's face was extremely ugly as he looked at the pile of black stuff that resembled a small mountain. Especially since he could clearly smell the strange smell coming from the waste. Yi Fei almost vomited just by smelling a trace of it. He immediately cursed Zhao Yu and the elders of Tianyun Wufu countless times in his heart. That crazy woman is really ruthless. She actually made me do the dirtiest, hardest, and most tiring odd job. But my meridians haven't recovered yet, so I can't resist at all. F*ck, I can only endure it. Yi Fei hurriedly found a rag and covered his face. He immediately felt the air become fresher. Then, with a dark face, he took a shovel and a cart and prepared to clean up this pile of dog's-hit waste. Just as Yi Fei shoveled, he suddenly felt that something was wrong. When he shoveled, the immortal sword soul in his body actually vibrated slightly. Yi Fei's face immediately darkened. No way, the immortal sword soul has such a heavy taste. These dregs are even smellier than dog's hit. Don't tell me it wants to absorb them too. It's not just dregs. There are also waste pills in here. Moreover, these were not ordinary waste pills. For the Sky Fate Marshall House to refine these pills, they would definitely not be low-level pills like those outside. At the very least, they would be middle-level pills. Even if they were high-level waste pills, he had already dug out quite a few of them. My God, there are even high-level waste pills. How wasteful is it to concoct pills in the Sky Fortune Marshall House? Could it be that what the Undying Sword Spirit really wants to absorb are these useless pills? Yi Fei suddenly had a bold idea in his mind. The so-called waste pills were pills that had failed to be refined. Because there were too many impurities in them, they were unable to be absorbed. In the end, they could only be thrown away as trash. In truth, the medicinal energy within still existed. Could it be that the immortal sword soul was able to absorb the medicinal efficacy of these waste pills? Yi Fei's eyes suddenly lit up. He looked left and right to make sure that no one was paying attention to him. He immediately and quietly picked up a high-level medicinal pill and placed it in his palm. This kind of disgusting medicinal pill, he would not eat it, but he could try to stimulate his true qi and refine it. The immortal sword soul in his body actually vibrated at this moment. Then, a suction force followed Yi Fei's palm and completely absorbed the medicinal efficacy of the waste pill. The waste pill in his hand completely turned into a smelly black powder and fell to the ground. This method was actually effective. The immortal sword soul had the ability to absorb waste pills. Yi Fei was so excited that his whole body began to tremble. In front of him was not a pile of waste. It was clearly a huge treasure trove that belonged only to him. This is great. I didn't expect the immortal sword soul to be able to absorb the medicinal efficacy of waste pills. Then I won't have to worry about finding more pills. As long as I have these waste pills, I won't have to worry about not being able to repair my meridians as soon as possible. Yi Fei was so excited that he wanted to shout out loud. Suddenly, he felt that his whole body was full of energy. He waved the shovel even more vigorously. Shovel after shovel, he collected all the waste pills in the pile and loaded the waste into the cart. They were transported away at the fastest speed possible. Soon, Lu Chang and the other servant disciples around him discovered an incredible scene. Originally, even the servant disciples were extremely unwilling to work in the waste yard. However, Yi Fei was actually very happy there, as if he had made a fortune. What was even more incomprehensible to Lu Chang was that Yi Fei actually hummed a song when he pushed the cart past him. How could Yi Fei be so happy cleaning that dirty and smelly waste yard? Not only was Lu Chang dumbfounded, but the other servant disciples who passed by were also all dumbfounded. What's wrong with that kid? Those waste pills are even smellier than dog shit. We vomit every time we go there, but he's actually so happy. Sigh, what else could it be? He's crazy. You guys don't know this, but Yi Fei used to be a 10th grade Huang-ranked genius. However, he offended someone and his meridians were destroyed. He was even demoted to this place to be a servant. So that's how it is. It seems like he's overstimulated and has already gone crazy. The servant disciples pointed at Yi Fei. Many of them had sympathetic looks in their eyes. What a pity. A genius like him had actually been reduced to a lunatic. What do you guys know? A treasure mountain is right in front of you, yet you don't know how to make use of it. You guys are the lunatics. Yi Fei sneered in his heart. He didn't care about the discussions around him. He just continued to use the waste pills in the pile of waste materials and desperately absorbed them day and night. Originally, Lu Chang had given Yi Fei 7 days. However, under Yi Fei's relentless digging, this pile of waste materials was completely leveled by Yi Fei in 3 days. Of course, the harvest was also huge. Yi Fei found a total of a few hundred middle-grade elixirs and over 100 high-grade elixirs. It was a pity that all of them were waste pills. The residual medicinal effects were probably not even 1% of the original elixirs. However, Yi Fei was still very satisfied. Sometimes, quantity could also determine quality. Taking advantage of the quiet night when there was no one around to disturb them, Yi Fei immediately sat cross-legged on the ground and grabbed all of the waste pills in his hand. He constantly guided the undying sword soul to absorb them crazily. As a large amount of medicinal effects were absorbed, the undying sword soul did not let him down. Traces of black energy started to be released from the undying sword soul. Boom! As the last batch of high-grade waste pills were completely absorbed by Yi Fei, the black energy in his body reached a state of saturation for the first time. Meridians, repair for me! Yi Fei's face was solemn as he suddenly shouted. Following his thoughts, the black energy instantly flowed into his limbs and bones like a stream. Accompanied by the sound of beans being fried, Yi Fei was pleasantly surprised to find that the damaged meridians in his body were completely repaired by the black energy. They even became a few times wider than before. Boom! Another thunderous sound came from Yi Fei's dantian. After Yi Fei's meridians were repaired, the remaining black energy rushed into Yi Fei's dantian in an orderly manner and started to transform his dantian crazily. Layers of yellow light rings started to appear on Yi Fei's body. There were a total of 10 layers of yellow light rings, which represented the quality of Yi Fei's dantian. However, this was not the end. Then, these 10 layers of yellow light rings, under the influence of the black energy of the undying sword soul, gathered together and turned into a mysterious black light ring, which floated above Yi Fei's head. At this moment, Yi Fei's dantian had completely turned from yellow to black. A black dantian, Xian Grade 1. Yi Fei's face was filled with shock as he opened his eyes. He did not think that the benefits he gained this time would be so great. The undying sword soul had not only repaired all of his meridians, it had also directly raised his dantian to the Xian level. If the Xian Grade 1 was to say that Yi Fei's talent was only above average in Wu Province, then the Xian Grade 1 was enough to upgrade Yi Fei's talent to the top. Haha, this is great. I finally have a Xian Grade dantian. This way, I have the hope of becoming a martial ancestor and going to the sacred land to bring my sister back. I wonder how Shanshan is doing in the sacred land. Has the cold poison in her body really been expelled? Yi Fei looked into the distant starry sky. A look of longing flashed across his eyes, which then turned into a strong fighting spirit. Desert Gale Technique. Yi Fei suddenly activated his technique. He wanted to see how much his Xian Grade dantian would increase his strength. However, as soon as he used his technique, Yi Fei was surprised to find that the true qi in his body suddenly changed. Chapter 36. Who is the trash? All of a sudden, Yi Fei seemed to understand something. He immediately bent down and picked up a stone from the ground. Then, he focused his attention and circulated the true qi in his body into the palm of his hand that was holding the stone. At this time, Yi Fei could clearly feel that the true qi he was releasing was no longer as simple as true qi. It actually had an attribute. It was a very terrifying flame attribute. Soon, a layer of purple flames began to burn on Yi Fei's palm. In the blink of an eye, Yi Fei could already feel that the stone in his hand had been melted by this purple flame on the spot and turned into a pile of ashes. It can even melt stones. This flame is really abnormal. Yi Fei's face revealed a hint of joy. He immediately understood that the reason his true qi had become like this was definitely related to the fusion of the extraterrestrial divine flame. Haha, this is a blessing in disguise. Zhou Guang, I won't kill you because you let me fuse with the extraterrestrial divine flame. But why did you want to harm me? I must find out. After feeling happy, Yi Fei's expression became very doubtful. He had already thought about it repeatedly these past few days. He didn't have any grudges with Zhou Guang, but Zhou Guang had suddenly tricked him into going to the Fire Cloud Cave. It was possible that someone had secretly instructed Zhou Guang to deal with him. Now that his tendons and veins had recovered, Yi Fei wanted to find Zhou Guang and ask him clearly. He wanted to know who had instructed Zhou Guang to trick him into going to the Fire Cloud Cave. In any case, the elixir dregs had already been cleaned up. Yi Fei immediately prepared to leave this place and look for Zhou Guang. But before he could leave, a few people whom Yi Fei didn't want to see the most arrogantly walked over. These people were none other than Wang Ming and a few other aristocratic family members who had conflicts with him in the county capital. At this time, they had all come together. Yi Fei didn't even need to think to know why they had come over. Yi Fei frowned. He did not want to deal with this group of people. The most important thing now was to find Zhou Guang and ask him about the ins and outs of the matter. However, there were some things that couldn't be avoided just because one wanted to. Yo, everyone, look. Isn't that our Black Forest region's genius, Yi Fei? Wasn't he very cocky in the past? Why is he running away like a dog when he sees us? Haha, genius? Where? Why don't I see any geniuses? Instead, there's a super trash right in front of us. Yi Fei's guess was right. These aristocratic family members had all suffered at his hands. Now that they heard that he was crippled, they immediately ran over to take revenge on him. Yi Fei sneered and said coldly, "Scram? I don't have the time to waste on you." His words made the faces of Wang Ming and the other aristocratic children very unsightly. Wang Ming was the first to speak. "Yi Fei, you're already a trash now. How dare you say such things to us? Believe it or not, even if we beat you to death now, no one would care." Ho Dong, who had been beaten up the most by Yi Fei, also said arrogantly, "Lowly commoner, I haven't settled the score with you for kicking me last time. If you have the guts, come and hit me again." Bam! Before he could finish speaking, a scorching hot gust of wind blew in front of him. Ho Dong screamed again as he was kicked into the ground, and blood spurted out of his mouth. Yi Fei slowly retracted his foot and scolded coldly, "Who are you calling trash? I've never seen people as cheap as you. You actually took the initiative to ask for abuse. You don't have to thank me for that kick just now. I've always taken pleasure in helping others." Hearing this, Ho Dong, who had just gotten up, couldn't help but vomit blood again. He shouted at Wang Ming, "Little prince, avenge me!" Wang Ming smiled nastily and nodded. He couldn't wait for Yi Fei to make the first move. That way, he could use this as an excuse to retaliate and kill Yi Fei. The people in Wu province wouldn't have anything to say. "Yi Fei, kneel down and accept your death." Almost at the same time that Ho Dong was injured, Wang Ming's sinister saber slashed at Yi Fei's hands. He hadn't forgotten the humiliation of Yi Fei forcing him to retreat with a single strike. Now, he was going to turn the tables and humiliate this lowly commoner 10 times, 100 times more. Good timing. I'll use you to test the power of the heavenly divine fire. Yi Fei was now bold. With his black-level talent and the heavenly divine fire, he simply ignored Wang Ming's attack. He directly caught the saber with his bare hands and instantly grabbed it. "Oh my God, how is this possible? This kid is crazy." He caught the saber with his bare hand. Wait, isn't he a trash now? Seeing Yi Fei's actions, Wang Ming and the group of aristocratic children's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. What was even more terrifying was yet to come. Yi Fei grabbed the saber and slightly activated his true qi. Purple flames appeared in his hands once again. The terrifying heat melted Wang Ming's saber in the blink of an eye and it dripped to the ground. Wang Ming was scared silly on the spot. Then, he felt a sharp pain on his face. Taking advantage of this group of aristocratic children's stupefied state, Yi Fei casually picked up the shovel in his hand and viciously smashed it down on Wang Ming's face. The scene was incomparably bloody. Wang Ming didn't even have time to scream before his entire face was smashed beyond recognition by Yi Fei. His face was so badly mangled that even his eyes and nose couldn't be distinguished. "Ah, my face, Yi Fei, lowly commoner! How dare you treat me like this? What are you waiting for? Attack!" Kill this lowly commoner for me. Wang Ming covered his face and screamed miserably. However, he quickly retreated in the direction of Wu Province. He didn't want to be disfigured right now, so he could only leave a group of subordinates to deal with Yi Fei while he ran back to get an expert to treat him. However, the group of aristocratic children had long been scared silly. They had only dared to seek revenge on Yi Fei after hearing that Yi Fei had been crippled. In the end, not only did Yi Fei not show any signs of being crippled, he was actually several times fiercer than before. In the face of such a ferocious man, the most important thing was that Wang Ming had fled on the spot. They weren't stupid. Of course, they wouldn't stay behind and look for trouble. They immediately dispersed, and as they fled, they turned their heads back and sneered, "Yi Fei, just wait for your death. You dare to disfigure Wang Ming? His big brother won't let you off." When Yi Fei heard this, he just sneered. Since he dared to be so heavy-handed, he wasn't afraid of revenge. After experiencing so many things, he finally understood that if one wasn't ruthless, one's path would be unstable. In a place like Wu Province, where the strong preyed on the weak, people would only fear and respect you if you were ruthless enough and strong enough. If you blindly showed weakness, you would only be bullied to death. After scaring off the group of aristocratic children, Yi Fei suddenly turned around and stared at a shadow in the distance. He said coldly, "Have you seen enough? I'll count to 3. Get out here immediately." "Don't, Junior Marshal Brother Yi." "No, Senior Marshal Brother, I'm just passing by. I didn't see anything, I didn't hear anything. I'm just a petty person. Please be magnanimous and treat me, Lu Chang, as a fart and let go." Before Yi Fei could count, Lu Chang, who had been hiding and secretly watching the entire process, had already rolled out in terror. He even knelt down on the spot without any backbone. When he looked at Yi Fei, his whole body was still trembling, as if Yi Fei was a man-eating demon king. Chapter 37. Martial Dao Level 8 Inch. Yes, I'll get up right away. Senior Brother Yi, I'm really sorry about before. I didn't mean to make things difficult for you. Lu Chang was still trembling when he got up and couldn't speak clearly. It wasn't just Lu Chang. The other servant disciples around him were also scared out of their wits when they saw Yi Fei's vicious treatment of Wang Ming. This obviously wasn't something a cripple could do. Even a fool could see that for some reason, Yi Fei's meridians hadn't been destroyed, and he was still as strong as before. Lu Chang was someone who bullied the weak and feared the strong. Of course, he was especially scared at this moment, and secretly regretted making things difficult for Yi Fei. Yi Fei was even more speechless. Was he really that scary? Why didn't he feel it? Seeing Lu Chang's scared expression, Yi Fei's heart suddenly jolted, and he came up with a good idea to use this person. "Lu Chang, let me ask you, do you know where Zhou Guang is?" Yi Fei asked in a deep voice. He had called Lu Chang over because he thought that the whole of Tianyuan Wufu was bigger than the prefecture capital. Since he was new to this place, if Zhou Guang deliberately avoided him, it would definitely be very difficult for him to find Zhou Guang. But Lu Chang was different. He was the head of the servant disciples, and had been in Wu Province for a few years. It would definitely be much easier for him to find someone than Yi Fei. Lu Chang didn't dare decline at all. When he heard Yi Fei's words, he immediately nodded and said, "Senior Brother Yi, so you're looking for Senior Brother Zhou. That's easy, leave it to me, Lu Chang. You might not know this, but us servant disciples might not be very strong, but we're the most well-informed." "Then what are you waiting for? I'll wait here for your news. By the way, tell me as soon as you find Zhou Guang's location. Don't tell him that I'm looking for him. If he messes up my plan, I can't guarantee the consequences." Yi Fei gave Lu Chang a threatening look. Suddenly, with a thought, he activated the true qi in his body again. With a sizzling sound, the shovel in Yi Fei's hand melted into a pile of iron slag and fell to the ground in the blink of an eye. Lu Chang was so scared that he almost peed on the spot. If it was said that Lu Chang was only suspicious before, then he was now certain that not only did Yi Fei not become a cripple, his strength was also ridiculously strong. Senior Marshal Brother Yi, please wait for a moment. This lowly one will go and investigate. Give me 1 day, no, half a day. I will definitely find Zhou Guang's whereabouts. Lu Chang was completely frightened. Seeing that Yi Fei didn't have any other orders, Lu Chang turned around and led a group of servant disciples out to gather information. Yi Fei stayed in the servants' courtyard. He planned to cultivate hard while waiting for Lu Chang's news. He also felt a little threatened by the provocation of Wang Ming and his group just now. Wang Ming is nothing to worry about, but I heard from that group of aristocratic family disciples that Wang Ming has a very powerful older brother who is likely to be a martial master. With my current strength, there is still a gap between me and a martial master. If I can reach the 8th level of martial arts, coupled with the mutated true qi in my body, I wonder if I can fight against a martial master? Yi Fei thought silently. Anyway, there was no one nearby. Yi Fei found a random open space and planned to cultivate. At this time, there was a sound of footsteps in the distance. Sister Bai, why are you here? Yi Fei opened his eyes and saw that it was Bai Ling. Yi Fei, I heard that you're working as a servant here. Did anyone bully you? Bai Ling was a little panicked. She looked around and said, Little Fatty told me that Wang Ming and his group heard that your meridians were destroyed. They might come to seek revenge on you. You must be careful. It turned out that Bai Ling had heard that someone wanted to bully him and specially came to help him. Yi Fei was very moved, but his expression was calm. He shook his head and said, Sister Bai, they haven't been here. No one bullied me here. Please don't worry. Yi Fei didn't tell her about the conflict with Wang Ming just now. He had just arrived in Wu province, but he was already framed. Now, he didn't dare to easily trust anyone. At the very least, Yi Fei would keep some distance from Bai Ling until he found Zhou Guang and asked for the specific reason. Hey! You don't have to force yourself. Even if your meridians are destroyed, as long as you protect yourself, there's still a chance that your meridians can be repaired. Right, take this. Bai Ling sighed. She thought that Yi Fei didn't care about anything because his meridians were destroyed, which was why he was so disheartened. Bai Ling didn't know how to comfort Yi Fei. She could only take out a bottle of pills and stuff it into Yi Fei's hands. Yi Fei recognized it at a glance. It was a bottle of intermediate spirit-gathering pills. He hurriedly refused and said, Sister Bai, I can't take this. Why can't you take it? Yi Fei, I'm not giving this to you. It's a benefit for every new disciple. Just take it. Bai Ling didn't allow Yi Fei to refuse. She stuffed the pills into his hands and turned to leave. Sister Bai, thank you so much. Yi Fei hesitated. Since Bai Ling had already said so much, it would be unreasonable of him to refuse. Besides, Yi Fei really needed these pills to improve his strength. Bai Ling, I'll remember this favor. When I'm strong enough in the future, I'll definitely repay you double. Yi Fei's eyes were filled with determination as he watched Bai Ling leave. Without anyone disturbing him, he sat down cross-legged again. First, he checked that there were no problems with these intermediate spirit-gathering pills. Then, he immediately swallowed them all in one gulp. He activated the mutated true energy in his body and absorbed them like crazy. At this moment, Yi Fei finally realized how heaven-defying his dark-ranked Dantian was. Originally, he would have needed at least a day to refine these intermediate spirit-gathering pills. Now that he had a dark-ranked Dantian, his refining speed was several times faster than when he was at the 10th grade Huang rank. Naturally, the time needed was greatly reduced. In less than 6 hours, boom! Yi Fei could already feel that the medicinal power in his body had been completely refined. Then, it formed a torrent that instantly broke through some kind of barrier in his body. 8th grade martial path, I reached it so easily. This is only a dark-ranked Dantian, and my cultivation speed is already so fast. If I can reach dark-ranked Dantian 2nd, 3rd, or even higher, how terrifying would my cultivation speed be? Yi Fei opened his eyes, his face filled with joy. The only thing that he regretted was that as the undying sword spirit had absorbed too many intermediate and high-ranked pills, it had become more and more picky. It even disdained to absorb intermediate spirit-gathering pills. If he wanted to improve his talent, Yi Fei estimated that he would need a complete set of high-ranked pills at the very least. However, even a martial master like Bai Ling would find it difficult to obtain such pills. As a mere martial arts rookie, it would be extremely difficult for him to obtain them. Forget it, just because I can't get them now doesn't mean I can't in the future. Right now, the most important thing for me is to find Zhou Guang and ask him why he wants to harm me. A cold light flashed in Yi Fei's eyes as he slowly stood up. At this moment, he saw Lu Chang rushing back with a group of odd-job disciples with a face full of joy. Lu Chang, have you found Zhou Guang's whereabouts? Yi Fei asked, the light in his eyes growing colder. Yes, senior apprentice brother Yi, we found Zhou Guang. We don't know who he offended recently, but there are several senior apprentice brothers from the inner court looking for him. Just a moment ago, Zhou Guang was forced to flee from Sky Fortune City. Some of our brothers who work as janitors seem to have seen people chasing after him. Lu Chang ran back, panting, and brought this shocking news to Yi Fei. Yi Fei was stunned. Zhou Guang was being chased? What was going on? Chapter 38. Fighting Martial Masters. A small forest outside Wu Province was currently filled with the glint of swords and the shadows of swords. Several martial masters were fighting here, and the small forest was almost destroyed. Tianyun Wufu had a rule that disciples were not allowed to kill each other. But outside Wu Province, or under the influence of someone in Wu Province, killing between disciples was actually a common occurrence. Now, these senior brothers from the inner courtyard had surrounded Zhou Guang in this small forest without any scruples. No matter how hard Zhou Guang tried, he couldn't escape. Zhou Guang was so anxious that he was sweating profusely. He shouted, Zhang Xian, Niu Tai Du He, you're pushing me too far. I've already followed Wang Ming's instructions and took the risk to plot against junior brother Yi. Why won't you let me go? When he said this, Zhou Guang's face was filled with anger. Although he was a little domineering, he had been in Wu Province for a long time, and he was no longer a hothead. In order to survive, Zhou Guang had been unable to go against a certain elder's plan, so he had no choice but to plot against Yi Fei and trick Yi Fei into Fire Cloud Cave. It would have been fine if Yi Fei had died, but now that Yi Fei wasn't dead, Zhou Guang could be exposed at any time. In order to avoid being exposed, Wang Ming and the elder behind the scenes would definitely kill Zhou Guang to silence him. Thus, after plotting against Yi Fei, Zhou Guang had been hiding all this time, trying to escape Tianyun Wufu and avoid the fate of being discarded as a chess piece. It was just that Zhou Guang hadn't expected the elder behind Wang Ming to act so quickly. Almost as soon as he left the city, there were already martial masters chasing after him. Seeing that Zhou Guang was still trying to resist, Zhang Xian and the others laughed wildly. Ha ha ha, Zhou Guang, since you've been in Wu Province for so many years, you should know that only the dead can keep secrets. Zhou Guang, you're muddle-headed. Before tricking Yi Fei into Fire Cloud Cave, you could have seriously injured him or even killed him. Who told you to be so soft-hearted? Not only did you ruin the Elder's plan, but you also ruined your own life. There's no point in talking about a dying man. Zhou Guang, you must know that no matter what, you have no reason to live. Give up resistance now. Since you're from the same sect, we'll give you a quick death. Zhang Xian and the other two were filled with killing intent as they closed in on Zhou Guang. Zhou Guang wasn't willing to die like this, he angrily roared. Zhang Xian, you forced me to do this. Even if I don't live, I will escape back to the martial house and report your scheme to the martial house. You're courting death. You're only a first-stage martial master. Do you think you can escape from the three of us? When they saw that Zhou Guang still dared to resist, Zhang Xian and the other two immediately unleashed their martial master aura. The swords in their hands were aimed at Zhou Guang's vital point. Zhou Guang also tried his best to resist. But in the end, it was difficult for two fists to fight against four hands. In the short span of a few breaths, the sword in Zhou Guang's hand had already been broken by Zhang Xian and Du He. Finally, Niu Tai aimed his palm at Zhou Guang's chest with a ferocious expression. It seemed like he was about to kill Zhou Guang. Senior brother Yi, they're right in front of us. Hurried footsteps were heard from outside the small forest. Lu Chang, who had been running, was out of breath. When he had discovered Zhou Guang's whereabouts and realized that he couldn't afford to provoke Yi Fei, Lu Chang had rushed over with Yi Fei in order to claim credit for himself. When he saw the three inner courtyard seniors surrounding Zhou Guang and trying to kill him, Lu Chang was stunned. In Wu Province, disciples were not allowed to kill each other. At least, that was the case on the surface. Sure enough. Are you trying to silence him? Yi Fei sneered. He wasn't surprised by Zhou Guang's current predicament. What surprised Yi Fei was that the other party had actually sent 3 first-stage martial master experts to kill Zhou Guang. It was obvious that the person behind the scenes had a lot of power. However, no matter what, Yi Fei wouldn't let this group of people kill Zhou Guang so easily before he interrogated Zhou Guang. The moment he rushed into the small forest, the sword in Yi Fei's hand flashed and a dazzling sword light pierced through the back of the unsuspecting martial master Zhou Guang. How dare you, you piece of trash! Niu Tai was furious. He had been about to kill Zhou Guang, but someone had actually dared to interfere. The other party was only an 8th-stage martial path cultivator, so how dare he launch a sneak attack? As an expert martial master, Niu Tai's reaction was very fast. He turned around in an instant and used the palm technique that he had prepared to kill Zhou Guang to strike Yi Fei. Be careful, senior brother Yi. Lu Chang, who had followed Yi Fei, was so scared that he wet his pants. He secretly regretted coming here to court death in order to curry favor with Yi Fei. Now that he had discovered that a few of his senior brothers were trying to silence him, if Yi Fei was killed, these senior brothers from the inner courtyard wouldn't let Lu Chang off either. Good timing. I just absorbed the extraterrestrial divine flame, so I don't know how strong the mutated true qi in my body is. Let me test it out on you first. Yi Fei sneered. He had profited from a disaster by merging with the extraterrestrial divine flame. Even if he faced a martial master, he wouldn't be afraid. Yi Fei quickly used the Desert Gale technique, a dark-grade technique, and his terrifying mutated true qi to form a purple flame. Yi Fei swatted it out and stuck it to his opponent's body first. Ah! My hand! How is this possible? Niu Tai's hand hadn't even touched Yi Fei when the terrifying flame burned his body. After Niu Tai recovered from his shock, he screamed in pain. The extraterrestrial divine flame was too terrifying. Even Zhao Yu, a 5th-stage martial master, didn't dare to touch it, let alone Niu Tai, who was only a 1st-stage martial master. His entire arm was instantly engulfed by the purple flame and turned to ashes. Die! Yi Fei swung his sword again. Taking advantage of the moment when Niu Tai's arm was destroyed and he panicked, the sword directly slashed across Niu Tai's neck. How is this possible? Niu Tai was actually killed by a single slash. Something's wrong. What kind of flame did that little bastard release? It's so powerful. Zhang Xian and Du He were incomparably shocked. They looked at Yi Fei with a faint trace of fear in their eyes. They weren't the only ones who were frightened. Zhou Guang was also scared silly. Didn't junior brother Yi break into the fire cloud cave and have his meridians destroyed? Why is his strength even more terrifying than before? He's only an 8th stage martial master. He actually killed a 1st stage martial master from the inner courtyard. Oh my god! Fortunately, I didn't completely offend him. Lu Chang, who had landed in the distance, was both shocked and relieved. Zhang Xian and Du He, who had come to their senses, were instantly furious. Little bastard, you're courting death. How dare you kill our companion? We'll kill you right now. He came at the right time. Let's kill him first, then Zhou Guang and the odd job disciple over there. We'll eliminate all the hidden dangers in one go. Zhang Xian and Du He, who had discovered the strangeness of Yi Fei's true qi, looked at each other and suddenly rushed at Yi Fei at the same time. Zhang Xian was in front and Du He was behind him. They didn't believe that the two of them, who were 1st stage martial masters, couldn't kill a rookie in the 8th stage of the martial path. Chapter 39. Chapter 39. Master of Martial Arts. Faced with the joint attack of two martial masters, Yi Fei suddenly felt the pressure in his heart increase. His strength was still too low. Relying on the mutated true qi in his body, he had no problem dealing with one of them. If the two of them attacked him together, he might be in danger. At this time, Yi Fei couldn't care about anything else. He moved his body and quickly retreated, avoiding Zhang Xian's attack. At the same time, he turned his head and shouted at Zhou Guang, who was still in a daze. Zhou Guang, how long are you going to watch? If you don't want to die, help me stall one of them. Zhou Guang finally came back to his senses. He looked at Yi Fei with shock and guilt. Then, he gritted his teeth and rushed toward Zhang Xian, who was closest to him. Junior brother Yi, let me help you. Zhou Guang rushed forward, his eyes filled with madness as he fought Zhang Xian. Zhou Guang, are you crazy? How dare you go against us? Faced with Zhou Guang's crazy attacks, Zhang Xian was so angry that his face turned ashen. However, he had no choice but to give up on attacking Yi Fei. Zhou Guang was not a fool. When he saw that Yi Fei had the strength to kill a martial master, he immediately chose to stand on Yi Fei's side and fight Zhang Xian to the death. Only by risking his life would he have a chance to survive. At the same time, Zhou Guang and Zhang Xian's strength were both at martial master stage 1. When they fought like this, it was hard to tell who would win in an instant. It was impossible to determine the victor in a short period of time. On the other side, Du He had already brandished a terrifying saber light at Yi Fei. It enveloped Yi Fei's entire body like a terrifying saber curtain. It was about to cut Yi Fei into pieces. Iron Blood Saber Screen. Grand Desert Gale. Yi Fei did not dare to be negligent. He took a deep breath and at the same time, pushed the true qi in his body to the maximum. The resplendent sword light, with a sharp whistling sound, quickly pierced into the saber curtain that filled the sky. Boom! The swords and sabers collided, creating a huge cloud of dust. Yi Fei managed to break the saber screen in front of him, but he still vomited blood. He was forced back several steps by the martial master's valiant quintessence, and blood leaked from the corner of his mouth. At this moment, he realized that there was still a huge gap between him and a martial master. He could only kill a martial master with a single blow if he released the divine flame in his body. He was still at a disadvantage in a direct confrontation. You piece of trash. Didn't they say that you had broken into the fire cloud cave, and your meridians were destroyed, and you became a cripple? You still have the strength to block my blade. What kind of fortuitous encounter did you have? Tell me, and I may spare your life. Du He didn't hide his greed at all. Du He was already shocked when he saw Yi Fei kill Niu Tai. However, he thought that Yi Fei had only killed Niu Tai because of a sneak attack. It wasn't until now that Du He saw that Yi Fei was able to block his martial master's attack head-on that Du He was truly astonished. Then, he immediately thought that Yi Fei might have had some fortuitous encounter or treasure for him to become so powerful. Yi Fei didn't hide anything. He nodded and said, "That's right. I have a very powerful treasure on me. It's a pity that you won't be able to get it. Kill." Yi Fei didn't retreat. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, raised his sword, and charged towards Du He again. He had no way out. If he didn't kill this person now, he might be killed by this person when he regained his breath, given the strength of a martial master. Trash. Do you think that you can go against a martial master just because you killed one of us with a sneak attack? I'll show you how terrifying a martial master is. Iron Blood Saber Screen. A saber screen even larger than the one before swept towards Yi Fei's body like a waterfall. Its target was Yi Fei's limbs. Du He obviously didn't want to kill Yi Fei right away. Therefore, he planned to chop off Yi Fei's limbs first before forcing Yi Fei to reveal the secret he was harboring. This gave Yi Fei the perfect opportunity. Great Desert Gale, 13th Sword Style. Yi Fei finally revealed his final trump card. The 13th Sword Style was his strongest martial technique. At the same time, the 13th Sword Style was very different from before. Not only did it have a 13 times critical strike, but it also had a variation of true qi that released a terrifyingly high temperature. The sword in Yi Fei's hand instantly turned red. If he hadn't tried his best to maintain it with his true qi, this ordinary longsword would have melted into molten iron. When the saber and sword collided, Yi Fei didn't move an inch this time. On the other hand, Du He, who was a martial master, cried out in alarm as he watched the red sword pierce through his saber and then through his body. Yi Fei's sword had actually pierced through Du He's body along with his saber. "You!" Du He looked at the bloody hole in his chest in disbelief. The 13-fold critical strike and the flame true energy that could even melt a sword had created the legend of Yi Fei, who was at the 8th stage of the martial path, killing a first-stage martial master with one strike. Finally, the corpse swayed and fell to the ground. When Lu Chang saw this, he was so shocked that he couldn't close his mouth for a long time. There was only one thought in his mind. Senior brother Yi was definitely a monstrous disciple that only appeared once every 100 years in Wu province. Only such a disciple could create the legend of a martial disciple killing a martial master. You actually killed junior brother Du? How is that possible? You are clearly a cripple. How can your strength be so terrifying? Don't tell me. Suddenly, Zhang Xian noticed that the sword in Yi Fei's hand was gradually melting. A look of extreme shock appeared on his face as he screamed. Zhang Xian was so frightened that he turned around and fled. Yi Fei Zhouguang, just wait for your death. We won't let you off so easily. Zhang Xian didn't forget to threaten them as he fled. Where do you think you're going? Zhouguang's eyes were bloodshot as he chased after Zhang Xian. He wanted to continue fighting Zhang Xian. He didn't forget to call out to Yi Fei. Junior brother Yi, let's kill him together. Yi Fei smiled bitterly when he heard this. In order to kill Du He, he had used up 80% of the true qi in his body. The sword in his hand had also melted into molten iron. If he chased after them now, he would be courting death. Fortunately, he had still managed to save Zhouguang in the end. Yi Fei hurriedly stopped Zhouguang and said, "Zhouguang, don't chase after him. I have a few questions for you." Seeing that Yi Fei had no intention of chasing after Zhang Xian, Zhouguang wasn't confident that he could stop Zhang Xian by himself. He could only stop with an unsightly expression and look at Yi Fei guiltily. "Junior brother Yi, I know what you want to ask. Actually, I had no choice but to plot against you. The ones who really wanted to harm you were Wang Ming and his elder brother, Wang Liang." Seeing that not only had Yi Fei not become a cripple, but he also had the strength to kill a martial master, Zhouguang didn't dare hide anything at all. Not only did he tell Yi Fei about Wang Ming and Wang Liang, he also shared his own speculation. Actually, whether it was me or Wang Liang, we were all pawns. Behind us, there was a higher-up in Wu province who tried to obstruct Princess Zhao Yu's cultivation. You were Wang Liang's scapegoat. I had no choice but to trick you into going to Fire Cloud Cave in order to save my own life. When Zhou Guang finished speaking, he had already lowered his head and adopted an attitude of allowing Yi Fei to deal with him as he pleased. Yi Fei finally understood the whole story. Sure enough, there was someone behind Zhou Guang, and the most frightening person was a higher-up elder in Wu province. From this, it could be seen how fierce the open and covert struggles in Wu province were. Even martial masters could only be reduced to pawns. This made Yi Fei even more determined to become stronger. If he wanted to control his own destiny, he could only become stronger. Zhou Guang, leave. Since you had no choice when you tricked me into going to Fire Cloud Cave, I'll spare your life. Yi Fei hadn't done anything to Zhou Guang. He had only been coerced. Even if he wanted to take revenge, he would look for the two brothers, Wang Ming and Wang Liang. Besides, if Zhou Guang hadn't tricked him into going to Fire Cloud Cave, how could he have fused with an exotic treasure like the heavenly divine fire and upgraded his dantian's quality to black level? Yi Fei wouldn't have bothered to pursue the matter with Zhou Guang. Zhou Guang raised his head with a shocked expression on his face. Junior brother Yi, you don't blame me? You weren't the one who harmed me, so why should I blame you? Yi Fei pressed Zhou Guang down with a smile and turned to leave. This made Zhou Guang's expression even more complicated. Zhou Guang's expression changed several times when he thought of how Yi Fei had killed a martial master and how his sister, who had joined the Holy Land, was standing behind Yi Fei. He suddenly walked up to Yi Fei and knelt down in front of Yi Fei. Senior brother Zhou Yu. Yi Fei was confused by Zhou Guang's actions. Junior brother Yi, don't call me senior brother. I don't have the face to be your senior brother. Now that I've offended the high-level elders of Wu province, I have nowhere else to go. If I return to Wu province, I'll be courting death. If I wander outside, the people I've offended might not let me go. In that case, I might as well follow you and join your family. Yi. I, Zhou Guang, can accept being your servant. Zhou Guang wasn't acting on a whim. He had truly seen the terrifying potential of Yi Fei and his sister. Zhou Guang didn't know what Yi Fei's sister was like, but based on the fact that Yi Fei could kill a first-stage martial master at the 8th-stage martial path, Zhou Guang knew that Yi Fei was definitely a terrifying monstrous genius. If he followed such a master, not only would his life be guaranteed, he might even be able to advance further on the martial path in the future. This was the real reason why Zhou Guang was willing to recognize Yi Fei as his master. Now, it all depended on whether Yi Fei was willing to accept him as his subordinate. Chapter 40. Treasure Map. Zhou Guang, are you sure you want to join our family, Yi? Yi Fei was surprised that Zhou Guang wanted to join him, but he didn't reject him. After all, Zhou Guang was a martial master stage 1 expert. This kind of strength was nothing in Tianyun Wufu, but in Blackrock City, in the family Yi, Zhou Guang's strength was the strongest. Actually, when he left the family Yi Fei was worried that Yi Tianxiong wouldn't be able to take revenge on him, so he might take revenge on Yi Jian, who had always supported him. Although the family Yi still had Yi Chao, the Grand Elder, he was an old fox, and the Great Elder, Yi Tianai, was a standard fence-sitter. If Yi Tianxiong was determined to take action against Yi Jian while he wasn't around, it was hard to guarantee that Yi Chao and Yi Tianai would fully support Yi Jian. Therefore, Yi Fei wanted to subdue Zhou Guang and let Zhou Guang join the family Yi. This way, not only could he intimidate the family Yi, but he could also help Uncle Jian. Junior brother Yi, no, master. I have thought it through. I am willing to join the family Yi. I, Zhou Guang, swear that from today onwards, I will follow master wholeheartedly. If I have second thoughts, may the heavens and earth destroy me, and I will die a horrible death," Zhou Guang said without hesitation. He didn't feel that there was anything wrong with a martial master like him joining Yi Fei. It was impossible for a martial Dao realm cultivator to kill a martial master with a mere 10th grade Huang-ranked Dantian. Normally, only super geniuses with black rank talent could do it. At this moment, how could Zhou Guang not know that Yi Fei was hiding his talent? And those with a black rank Dantian already had the qualifications to break through to martial ancestor. Zhou Guang was naturally willing to take a gamble. With his strength of a martial master stage 1, Zhou Guang was able to join a future martial ancestor. Zhou Guang felt that not only did he not suffer a loss, he actually gained something. "Haha, senior brother Zhou, since you think highly of me and are willing to join the family Yi, I won't refuse. From today onwards, you will follow me." Seeing that Zhou Guang had completed his oath, Yi Fei smiled and personally helped Zhou Guang up from the ground. To be able to subdue a martial master, it would be of great benefit to the family Yi and Uncle Jian. Yi Fei thought for a moment, then instructed Zhou Guang, "Senior brother Zhou, in the future, you don't have to call me master. We will still address each other as senior brother. The family Yi will also treat you as a guest elder. Now, I only need you to do one thing, and that is to return to the family Yi and help me protect Yi Jian. In the family Yi, you only need to listen to my and Uncle Jian's orders." "Master, this subordinate doesn't dare. This subordinate swears to follow master's orders and protect Yi Jian and the family Yi." Zhou Guang was very tactful. Since he had made up his mind to rely on Yi Fei, he quickly corrected his attitude. Then, Zhou Guang pointed at Lu Chang, who was not far away and was too scared to move, and said, "Master, this servant saw the fight just now. It's hard to guarantee that he won't go back to Wu province to complain and cause unnecessary trouble for Master. Do you need me to kill him now?" Zhou Guang was very smart. It wasn't enough for him to correct his attitude. He also wanted to prove his loyalty to Yi Fei. When poor Lu Chang heard this, his legs, which were already weak from fear, became weak all over. "Senior brother Yi, senior brother Zhou, please spare my life. I'm just a petty person. I'm nothing. Don't kill me. I promise I won't say anything." Lu Chang, the leader of the servants, was so scared that he started crying on the spot. He was just a small servant at the 6th stage of the martial Dao. If Zhou Guang wanted to kill him, it would be no different from crushing an ant. Yi Fei frowned and stopped him, saying, "Forget it. Every injustice has its perpetrator, and every debt has its debtor. The people who want to deal with me this time are Wang Ming, Wang Liang, and the elders behind them. They have nothing to do with Lu Chang. Lu Chang, you can go now. By the way, thank you for bringing me here. I'll come back to thank you later when I have time." "Senior brother Yi, you're welcome. I, Lu Chang, am just a petty person. It's my honor that senior brother Yi can use me." When he heard that Yi Fei wouldn't kill him, and would even give him benefits in the future, Lu Chang smiled so widely that the scar on his face started to move. He immediately got up from the ground and saluted Yi Fei respectfully before he turned around and left happily. Of course, Lu Chang also made up his mind that he wouldn't tell anyone about what happened today. After seeing Yi Fei's strength, which could even kill a martial artist, he didn't have the slightest intention of going against Yi Fei. "Master is merciful." Zhou Guang immediately began to flatter Yi Fei with a smile. In his heart, he was even more relieved. He understood that Yi Fei wasn't the kind of person who would kill indiscriminately. Following such a master, he would be able to live a better life. "By the way, Master, these are some elixirs that I've accumulated in Wu province. My talent is limited, so it's useless to keep these elixirs after I leave Wu province. It's better to give them to you to increase your strength. Also, Wang Ming's older brother, Wang Liang, is a disciple of the inner courtyard. He's a third-level martial artist master and is a pawn of some high-level elder. Master, you must be careful when you're in Wu province. Finally, after reminding Yi Fei a few more times, Zhou Guang left all the elixirs he had on him. He planned to rush to the family Yi overnight to hide. In this way, even if the high-level elder behind the scenes in Wu province knew that he had escaped, he wouldn't dare to run to the family Yi and kill him at the risk of offending the Holy Land. Yi Fei stayed behind. He planned to deal with the bodies of the two martial artists on the ground, then think of a way to get revenge on Wang Ming and Wang Liang. In the end, when he saw that Zhou Guang had given him elixirs, Yi Fei immediately realized that the two people he had killed were both martial artists. Even Zhou Guang, who had escaped, had a mid-level spirit-gathering elixir on him. The two martial artists who had chased after Zhou Guang definitely had better things on them. Thus, when Zhou Guang left, Yi Fei immediately crouched down and searched the bodies of the two dead martial artists for a moment. Then, his eyes suddenly lit up. He found 2 more bottles of mid-level spirit-gathering elixirs on the bodies of the two martial artists. Adding the elixirs that Zhou Guang had given him before he left, Yi Fei now had 3 bottles in his hands. That was a total of 30 mid-level spirit-gathering elixirs. If he were in Blackstone City, just these 3 bottles of elixirs alone would be worth an astonishing fortune of hundreds of thousands of gold taels. It was only now that Yi Fei suddenly realized what had happened. During the day, Bai Ling had actually lied to him. These mid-level spirit-gathering elixirs weren't a benefit for new disciples, but a benefit that Wu province had given to the inner courtyard martial artists. Needless to say, Bai Ling must have purposely said that the elixirs given to her by Wu province were a benefit for new disciples from Wu province. That way, he had no reason to refuse. Senior sister Bai Ling is very considerate. No matter what her motive was, I owe her a big favor for giving me those elixirs. Yi Fei shook his head. Suddenly, he found a well-preserved wooden box on the body of the second martial artist. He thought that it would contain some precious elixirs, but when he opened it, it turned out to be a very old map. This is a treasure map? Yi Fei's eyes widened as he stared at the map for a long time. He obviously hadn't expected that the martial artist would have such a thing hidden on him. Then, he was shocked to discover that the location of the treasure marked on the map was actually in the 100,000 mountains outside Tianyun City. This mountain range spanned almost half of Zhaoyang's territory, and the edge of the mountain range just happened to be not far from Blackstone City. Yi Fei's face immediately showed some hesitation. What should I do? Should I follow this map and take a look? Maybe I'll come across some amazing treasure. I just don't know if this map is real or fake. His hesitation didn't last long. Yi Fei's eyes suddenly flashed with determination. No, I still have to go and take a look. I already know that Wang Ming's older brother, Wang Liang, plotted against me. Now that I've killed 2 senior brothers from the inner courtyard, even if Wu province doesn't pursue the matter, Wang Liang will definitely continue to harm me in secret. He's also a level 3 martial master expert. With my current strength, there's no way I can beat him. Frowning, Yi Fei quickly analyzed his current situation. He was very depressed when he realized that in his current situation, going back to Wu province was simply courting death. Chapter 41. Shirwan Mountains at the same time. In a room in the inner courtyard of Tianyun Wufu, Wang Ming was anxiously waiting outside, waiting for his big brother to come back quickly so that he could avenge him. The other aristocratic sons stood to one side, dejected. Seeing that Wang Liang hadn't come back after so long, Ho Dong, who had also been beaten up badly, asked Wang Ming in a broken voice, "Little prince, why hasn't your big brother come back yet? We were beaten so badly this time. I'll make that bastard pay 10 times, no, 100 times the price." "That's right, little prince. We can't let that bastard off. He's already a cripple, but he still dared to beat him up so badly. If word gets out, how can we continue to live in Wu Province? Little prince, you must get your big brother to teach that Yi Fei a lesson. It's best if he can kill him directly. When Yi Fei was around, these aristocratic sons were so scared that they didn't even dare to breathe loudly. But now, in front of Wang Ming, each of them was more arrogant than the last. They couldn't wait to find Yi Fei and settle the score. What they didn't know was that Wang Liang had already tried to assassinate Yi Fei once, but he hadn't succeeded. Wang Ming's entire head was wrapped in gauze. When he heard his companion's words, he roared fiercely, "Shut up, all of you! You're shouting so fiercely now. Damn it, why didn't I see any of you help me when I was being beaten up?" Perhaps it was because the noise was too loud, but even the people outside the room could hear everything clearly. At that moment, Wang Liang finally returned to his residence with a gloomy face. When he saw so many people gathered outside, he immediately shouted unhappily, "Who told you to gather here? Don't you know that this is my residence?" Wang Liang was very unhappy. He had come back so late because he had been ordered to kill Zhou Guang to silence him. They had split into 4 groups and guarded the 4 city gates of Tianyun Wufu. Zhou Guang hadn't escaped from Wang Liang's residence. Wang Liang had waited for a day and a night. He hadn't followed Elder Cheng's orders to kill Zhou Guang to silence him. When he came back and saw so many people gathered outside his room, Wang Liang was instantly filled with anger. In his anger, Wang Liang didn't notice that his younger brother Wang Ming was also inside. When Wang Ming saw that his older brother had finally appeared, he was so excited that he immediately flew towards Wang Liang, hoping that Wang Liang would avenge him as soon as possible. "Big brother, you have to uphold justice for me. Look at that lowly commoner, what did he do to my face?" As Wang Ming spoke, he pointed resentfully at his brother's face. Yi Fei hadn't held back at all when he hit Wang Ming with the shovel. Wang Ming's facial features, from his eyes, nose and mouth, had all caved in and his cheekbones had cracked. Even though Wu Province had all sorts of miraculous elixirs, it would take at least a few months to heal this kind of injury. At this moment, Wang Ming was too ashamed to face anyone. He hated Yi Fei to the core. With a sudden shout, he sent Wang Ming, who had pounced on him, flying with a kick. "Stop right there. Who are you? How dare you launch a sneak attack on me? Do you want to die?" Wang Liang's face was full of vigilance. His failure to assassinate Yi Fei had made him even more suspicious. When he suddenly saw a mummy-like thing pouncing at him, Wang Liang subconsciously kicked it, causing Wang Ming to be in pain. During the day, he had been disfigured by Yi Fei's shovel, and at night, he was viciously kicked by his older brother. The pain was so severe that Wang Ming almost vomited bile. The heirs around them were also shocked. Someone reacted and hurriedly explained, "Senior brother Wang, please wait. This is your younger brother, Wang Ming." "What? My younger brother, Wang Ming? How did you get beaten up like this?" Wang Liang turned pale with fright. He simply couldn't believe that someone had beaten his younger brother so badly that even he, his older brother, couldn't recognize him. "Wah, big brother, revenge. You have to avenge me." Wang Ming scowled miserably as he crawled up from the ground. Seeing that Wang Liang had finally recognized him, he hurriedly told Wang Liang how he had been beaten up. When he heard that Wang Ming had been beaten up like this by Yi Fei, Wang Liang's expression changed greatly. He suddenly glared at the aristocratic heirs and said, "Scram! I have something to say to my younger brother in private." The aristocratic heirs didn't dare to say anything. They hurriedly found an excuse and scattered. At this moment, Wang Liang asked his younger brother with a gloomy face, "Wang Ming, didn't I tell you not to provoke that Yi Fei? Why didn't you listen to me?" It would have been better if he hadn't said this, but when he heard this, the disfigured Wang Ming suddenly pointed at Wang Liang and said angrily, "Big brother, what did you tell me? You said that the lowly commoner had trespassed into Fire Cloud Cave and had already become a cripple. I went over today to find that trash and have some fun, but look at my face. Motherf asterisk cur, is this the kind of injury that trash can cause? That lowly commoner hasn't been crippled at all, and he's even stronger than before. You deliberately made me go over to humiliate him. Shut up. You are my younger brother. Even if I want to harm someone, I won't harm you. However, this time it really was my negligence. I didn't think that not only did that lowly commoner not die after trespassing into Fire Cloud Cave, but he also unexpectedly merged with a divine flame from beyond the heavens. He even killed Junior Brother Nyo and Junior Brother Du, who I sent to kill Zhou Guang. Wang Liang said with a gloomy face. His words almost scared Wang Ming out of his wits. He asked in disbelief, Big brother, what did you say? That Yi Fei killed your two junior brothers. They were experts at the first stage of the martial master realm. What should I do? I've already thoroughly offended him. If he also comes to kill me, Wang Liang looked at his younger brother with disdain. He snorted coldly and said, Look at you. He's just a lowly commoner. Even if he merged with something even more powerful, he still dared to offend our county king's manor and the elders behind me. He's dead for sure. Don't you want to take revenge? Pack up and come with me. We'll go kill that lowly commoner right now. Wang Ming was frightened again. He said hesitantly, Big brother, are we really going to do it now? Wu Province has a rule that disciples can't kill each other. If it's discovered, our cultivation will be destroyed and we'll be expelled from Wu Province. Ha ha, little prince, don't worry. That's just Wu Province's rule on the surface. As long as we secretly kill him, even if Wu Province finds out, will they punish us martial master experts for a dead person? Zhang Xian laughed loudly as he walked in from outside. Behind Zhang Xian were several inner courtyard disciples dressed in brocade robes. They were either arrogant or indifferent. They were all Wang Liang's scoundrel friends in Wu Province. Among them, Wang Liang had the highest status in the county king's manor, so they all followed Wang Liang's lead. Wang Liang nodded his head in satisfaction when he saw that everyone had been gathered. He asked Zhang Xian darkly, How is it? Is there any problem with finding that lowly commoner's whereabouts? The elders said that we only have 1 day. When they heard Wang Liang mention the elders, Zhang Xian and the group of martial masters behind him became very serious. Zhang Xian, who had once been scared away by Yi Fei, pointed at his nose proudly and said, Senior brother Wang, don't worry. When I ran away, I secretly memorized that little bastard's scent. As long as we follow his scent, we'll definitely be able to find him and kill him. Haha, Senior Brother Zhang's nose is the spirit nose. No scent can escape your nose. There's no time to lose. Let's set off now. We'll kill Yi Fei first, then Zhou Guang. How about we kill both of them together? Chapter 42. Chapter 42. Midway interception. On the other side, Yi Fei also entered the 100,000 mountains. As soon as he entered, he was shocked by the number of demonic beasts living here. Yi Fei's eyes widened as he looked at the barbaric bull demon beast that was swaggering in front of him and ignoring him. That guy is really the worst and most useless low-level vicious beasts in our Blackstone city. Bloody barbarian bull, aren't those vicious beasts said to be at the bottom of the first layer of the martial path? The one that just passed by is at least at the first layer of the martial master realm. Fortunately, his vigilance was high enough, and he hid behind a rock in advance. Otherwise, if he was targeted by this barbaric bull that was extremely vengeful, then a fierce battle would be unavoidable. From this, it could be seen how terrifying the vicious beasts that lived in the 100,000 mountains were. Originally, Yi Fei had decided to take advantage of the night when there was no one around to hurry and find the location marked on the treasure map as soon as possible to see what was there. But when he saw the horrifying blood-barbaric bull passing by, he immediately changed his mind. Right now, it's still too difficult for me to face a martial master head-on. Furthermore, night is the time when ferocious beasts and demonic beasts are the most active. Forget it, I'd better find a place and work hard to cultivate. In the end, Yi Fei found a rock wall and dug out a simple cave. He then found a large rock to block the entrance of the cave, so that he could safely hide in the cave and cultivate. Coincidentally, from Zhou Guang and the two martial masters, Yi Fei had obtained 30 intermediate spirit-gathering pills that he hadn't had the time to use. With the Undying Sword Soul's current level of pickiness, it would definitely not be interested in such a pill. It would be best to use it to increase Yi Fei's strength. I wonder how many levels these pills can raise my cultivation. It would be even better if I could directly reach the 10th stage of the martial path. Licking his chapped lips, Yi Fei popped the spirit-gathering pills into his mouth one by one. Immediately, he activated the Desert Gale technique and began to refine them. Now that he had a black-level dantian, not only could he absorb the medicinal efficacies at a faster rate, but the meridians all over his body were also extremely wide, allowing him to achieve twice the results with half the effort. In just one night, Yi Fei had absorbed all 30 spirit-gathering pills. His strength had risen from the 8th stage of the martial path to the peak of the 9th stage of the martial path. I didn't even reach the 10th stage of the martial path. It looks like my talent is still too weak. Yi Fei had a look of regret on his face. In the short span of a day, he had managed to raise his cultivation level by 1 level, yet this guy was still not satisfied. If the elders of the family Yi knew about this, they would definitely line up to give Yi Fei a good scolding. One had to know that the advancement of a martial artist's realm was closely related to the quality of the dantian. For example, a first-grade yellow-rank martial artist would normally need more than 10 years to advance 1 level. A second-grade martial artist would need 9 years, and a third-grade martial artist would need 8 years. In this way, no matter how fast Yi Fei's cultivation speed was, he would need at least a few months or even half a year to break through to the 9th stage of the martial path. Now that he had relied on the spirit-gathering pills, he had actually advanced to the peak of the 9th stage of the martial path in less than a day. This was absolutely shocking. If this news were to spread to the family Yi, many elders would be scared to death. Forget it, the 9th stage is the 9th stage. In any case, I have the 13th sword style and the mutated divine flame. If I encounter a martial master, even if I can't fight them head-on, escaping shouldn't be a problem. Looking at the bright light outside, Yi Fei knew that the most dangerous night had passed. Now was the time to continue advancing into the depths of the 100,000 mountain range. According to the description of the location on the treasure map, the unknown treasure was hidden in the deepest part of the 100,000 mountain range. That was also the gathering place of all kinds of powerful demonic beasts. Along the way, Yi Fei was very careful. During this period, he also saw all kinds of powerful demonic beasts. For example, a ferocious tiger with wings that could fly in the sky, a 2-legged snake with 2 legs that could spit fire, and the most terrifying thing was when he passed by a dense forest. Silently, a vine appeared under his feet. In an instant, it wrapped around his body and dragged him into the dense forest. Yi Fei turned pale with fright. Only now did he realize that there was a demonic beast in the form of a plant hidden in the dense forest in front of him. This kind of demonic beast was the most peculiar and also the most difficult to guard against. Yi Fei was not the first person to fall victim to it. In the process of being dragged, he found several withered corpses lying under the roots of the plant demonic beast. The clothes on one of the corpses were actually that of an inner courtyard senior brother of Tianyun Wufu. He didn't know if he was unlucky or what, but he was actually dragged over and absorbed as nutrient. That's not right. There's still the smell of blood in the air. This person probably died not long ago. There's also a wooden box beside him. Isn't that the wooden box of the treasure map? Yi Fei was a little surprised. He was very familiar with that wooden box. When he killed the martial master expert named Niu Tai, he found one of those boxes. There was also a treasure map inside it. Unexpectedly, he saw another one here. Yi Fei couldn't help but suspect that there might be more than one treasure map. At this critical moment, he didn't have time to think about it. He was about to be dragged into the plant demonic beast and become nutrient. Unable to break free from it, Yi Fei immediately activated the mutated vital energy in his body. The terrifyingly high temperature had already burned the vines on his body to ashes. For a plant demonic beast like this, the thing it was most afraid of was fire. Moreover, the fire on Yi Fei's body was not ordinary fire. It was a divine fire that came from beyond the heavens. Plant demonic beasts were also different from animal demonic beasts. They developed spiritual intelligence much later. The demonic beast in front of Yi Fei only had its instincts. Sensing the aura of the flame on Yi Fei's body, the plant demonic beast immediately stopped attacking Yi Fei. It didn't dare to continue attacking Yi Fei. Seizing this opportunity, Yi Fei hurriedly ran away from the plant demonic beast. He also picked up the wooden box that had fallen on the ground. When he opened it, his expression turned ugly. Sure enough, it's actually a treasure map inside. What's going on? Treasure maps can be seen everywhere like flyers. Could it be fake? Looking at the two identical treasure maps in his hands, Yi Fei's expression became uncertain. He was hesitating whether he should continue searching for the treasure. Suddenly, a few strong sounds of something breaking through the air came from outside the dense forest. Then, a familiar angry voice shouted, "Quick, I smell that little bastard. He's hiding inside." Swoosh! Several young men wearing Wu Province's inner court uniform rushed in from outside the dense forest. When they saw Yi Fei and Zhang Xian, who was sniffing around with his spirit nose, they immediately laughed wildly. Wang Ming was also behind them. He was panting from running, but when he saw that he had finally caught up with Yi Fei, he completely forgot about the exhaustion of chasing him all night. Relying on the support of his big brother Wang Liang and 6 martial arts experts, Wang Ming pointed at Yi Fei with a venomous expression and cursed, "Lowly commoner, you're pretty good at running. Let's see where you can run to now." "Who are you?" Yi Fei looked at the guy whose head was wrapped up like a mummy. He didn't know who he was. Wang Ming was so angry that he almost vomited blood. "I'm Wang Ming. Big brother, it's this lowly commoner who disfigured me like this. You have to help me get justice." Wang Ming introduced himself, then looked at Wang Liang beside him and said. Wang Liang's expression was cold. He was dressed in black and looked graceful and luxurious, but there was a trace of ruthlessness and surprise in his eyes. He stared at Yi Fei and said, "You're Yi Fei, that lowly commoner from a small family. You beat up my little brother pretty badly. You're Wang Liang. I don't have any big grudges against you. Why did you make Zhou Guang trick me into being a scapegoat? Now you're trying to kill me on the way here. You've gone too far." A trace of anger flashed through Yi Fei's eyes. How could he not understand what was going on when he saw this situation? Not only did this group of people want to silence Zhou Guang, they also wanted to silence him. Wang Liang was a martial master and couldn't be bothered to say anything to Yi Fei. Wang Ming's face was full of pride as he pointed at Yi Fei with extreme disdain and said, "Why? Because you're a lowly commoner who can't even compare to trash. People like you are the best scapegoats. You actually dared to reject the recruitment of our Junwang Manor. If we want to kill you, it'll be easier than killing an ant. Don't waste your breath on him. Just kill him so that we can report back to the elders," Wang Liang said with a cold expression. Yi Fei's talent was really too strong. Furthermore, he had rejected the recruitment of the Junwang Manor. If such a genius matured, he would definitely pose a huge threat to the Junwang Manor's position in Black Forest County. This was also the real reason why Wang Liang was determined to kill Yi Fei. When they heard Wang Liang's order, Zhang Xian and the other martial masters closed in on Yi Fei with sinister smiles. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.